Google Ads can either be your e-commerce store's best employee working 24/7 to get the company's sales, or sometimes it can kind of feel like a black hole that eats up your ad budget just for its breakfast. So you might be wondering, well, then what's the difference? The difference is knowing exactly how to set up your campaign and your account structure the right way and make sure that you're always optimizing correctly for the best results. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you a step-by-step guide, no fluff, no BS, on how to master Google Ads for your e-commerce business. Whether you're just starting out, or let's say that you've been running Google Ads for a short time and you've been seeing meh results, well, I'm going to teach you exactly how to set up and set the foundation correctly and optimize your e-commerce business Google Ads for profitability and scalability. But real quick, before we get started, I want to give you a little warning disclaimer. So one of the beauties that comes with running an e-commerce business when you're doing Google Ads is there are so many more placements in so many more channels and even nationwide ad targeting to take advantage of. But on the downside of that, there is a lot more things to take advantage of, which means there's a lot more testing, a lot more learning, and a lot more expertise that it's going to take to have a very successful Google Ads e-commerce account. So that being said, if you get into this video, or if you finish this video and you go, oh my goodness, Johnny, what did we get ourselves into? We are business owners. We want to focus on making our product better and talking with vendors and whatever. We don't want to have to deal with Google Ads. Well, one, I agree with you. And two, I would be honored to run your Google Ads for you. So the first link in the description will take you to the contact page on my website. Please fill out that form. And I promise you, if I am not in an existing client meeting or I am not sleeping, then I will personally pick up my phone and call you within 5 minutes and chat with you all about your business and your Google Ads needs. Also, if you are one of those folks who's already gotten started, you've spent some money, but you just need a little bit more assistance, maybe some training wheels, then I would love to give your Google Ads account a free audit, show you all the uncovered potential, and teach you exactly how I would implement it successfully if this is still something that you want to tackle on your own. But with that being said, for all you entrepreneurs out there, let's get going. Let's dive into the full circle of e-commerce Google Ads potential, and let's not waste another second. Okay, so when I was starting to script this video and kind of lay out what I wanted to talk about and how I wanted to talk about it, I thought that it might be easiest if I just go ahead and build an entire account with you. So we're going to do a little bit of role playing, and inside that role play, I'm going to make sure that I teach you everything that I'm doing, why I'm doing it, how I do it, how to optimize it, yada, yada, yada. We are not leaving anything out of this video. My job here is to teach you everything that you need to know to get started off on the right foot. And yes, of course, we will get into optimizations at the end of this, but optimizations, I could make a 20-hour long video about that because everything is going to be case by case. My job here is that you come out of this video more confident when running your Google Ads, or even if you have someone running your Google Ads, more confident just looking at the overview and having that conversation with that agency. So to set the scene, we are going to be a portable ice bath, like a cold plunge e-commerce company. So I found a couple examples. So one of these guys right here, this is what we're going to be selling. This is our company. We don't have our own website for this. This is just a test. So we're going to be selling portable cold plunge ice baths, and our Google Ads budget is going to be $10,000 a month, which is going to come down to $333 a day. So starting off, Johnny, what do we do now? We have an empty account. There's no spend in here. What's the first step? So the very first step is you're going to want to go over here, go to create. You can always also go to campaigns right here and create your first campaign. But to start us off, we are going to be creating our very first campaign. So here's where we start to get into things. Okay. There are multiple different types of campaigns inside Google Ads. So where do we start? The great thing about e-commerce is kind of like I mentioned earlier, where a lot of local service businesses can crush it just based off of search intent, and they look up their area and they go, okay, how many people are looking up HVAC repair or plumbing needs in the area? And they target those guys, because there's not really a huge reason why someone would need to use a Performance Max campaign or a video campaign to remind someone in the future that, hey, whenever your plumbing goes out, or hey, whenever all of a sudden you're in the Arizona heat and it's a little too hot, right? Those businesses work off of intent, and when someone needs it, they need it then. That's one of the reasons why those companies are able to charge so much, is because those services primarily aren't luxury, but it's something that's needed. But for your e-commerce company, and for our example, and most e-commerce businesses, when someone is buying your lower ticket product, it's typically a luxury. So we have to use a little bit more. So I'm going to get into that right now. But the main campaigns that you're always going to be taking advantage of when you're doing e-commerce Google Ads is going to be video, display, performance max, standard shopping, and search. So first off, we're going to start us off with the very bottom of the traditional marketing funnel. So if you're not familiar, the traditional marketing funnel starts off as top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. And all that is it's shaping intent. So bottom of funnel would be a search campaign and someone looking up your exact product and where to buy it. That's high intent. But for e-commerce, we are going to use a mixture of the different layers inside the marketing funnel. So just to start us off and just to get the most standard and well-known and most used campaign out of the way, we are going to go ahead and start with a standard search campaign. So as you can see right here, this isn't asking us what type of campaign we want to start, but this is asking us what our objective is. So you might be thinking, okay, obviously it's sales. And if you are a local service, maybe you're going for leads, right? Because no one's making an actual purchase right there on the website with you. They might be calling or filling out a form. Those would be considered leads. But e-commerce is all based around sales. So you might be thinking that sales is a no-brainer, but it's actually not. Because if you remember a few minutes ago when I showed you this account, there is no data in here. So this is a brand new Google Ads account, and I assume that most of you will be in a very similar situation. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna start with website traffic. And the reason for that is because if we optimize for sales and our objective is sales, that is gonna be our conversion event, is getting sales. But since we don't have any sales inside Google Ads and we don't have any conversions yet, Google doesn't know who those converters are. It doesn't know their demographics, doesn't know their activity. It has no information. So Google can't optimize properly for something that it doesn't know yet or doesn't have any information on. So it is standard procedure that you start with website traffic to generate those clicks and get those sales. And once you have around 20 sales a month at least, this also goes the same for leads, by the way, for any local service guys watching, then you switch over to sales or then you switch over to leads. So we are going to start with website traffic just so we can teach Google. For me, just because this is a dummy account, this says submit lead forms, but in your account, your conversion goals should say sales. If you don't have anything here, that's okay. I am not going to go over setting up a conversion event in this video because that is a very complicated subject and we're not going to hit it here, but make sure you have conversion tracking set up. And if you're working with a good agency, they will set it up for you, just like I set it up for my clients. It's a very standard part of Google Ads, but not something I will get into this video. But for you, this should say sales. So we're just going to go ahead and click continue. And then now we get into the campaign types like I mentioned. So performance max, which is one of the most popular ones in e-commerce. And basically this is like a catch-all campaign. So, and as you see here, we have Google search, YouTube, Gmail, Maps, Discover, Display, etc. Right? So this is the catch-all, the most popular Google ad campaign, but this is actually one of the last things we're going to do in this video, and I'm actually not even going to set it up, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. So in some of my other videos, I've talked about this, but one of the biggest things I see holding accounts back from success, and a lot of businesses honestly use it as a crutch, especially if the business owner themselves is running the Google ads, just because they don't have unlimited time. And, you know, to be honest, this is just not their main expertise. It's not Google ads. It's their business. It's your product. So a lot of businesses use this as a crutch, and it makes it really hard to scale because of the limited data that Performance Max campaign gives you. But we're going to skip this for now. So we're going to go right into search. These are some of the other campaigns I mentioned earlier. But again, we're going to start with search. So let's go ahead and go to search, select the website. Again, we kind of are making up our own product and own brand here, but just for sake, I'll just go ahead and use this website. Let's go ahead and just use this main page right here. So if you are this company, I'm sorry if we're using you as a guinea pig, but this is how it goes. Campaign name, don't need to spend a ton of time on this, but especially if you're going to have multiple campaigns, which in this case we are, because we're going to be spending $10,000 a month in just this example. So you want to make sure that you have naming conventions that are going to make the most sense for you. So for us, I'm just going to do standard search. That is the type of campaign, and then I want to go into the objective, which is going to be web traffic. And then for the main thing that we're going to be advertising in here. So a good example, right? As you can see, these guys have ceramic carbon sauna heaters. I assume that's what this is. They got ice baths. They got whatever this thing is, right? You have multiple things, but in this campaign, we're just going to be selling the ice bath. So I'm just going to put ice bath. And that is everything we're going to go with here. And again, this campaign name is just for us, so name it whatever is going to make the most sense for you. All right, so now the next thing we're going to go through is our bidding. So again, you might be saying, well, Johnny, we want to focus on conversions. We want sales. But again, remember at the beginning of this, we clicked on website traffic, so we're just going to go with clicks for now. There is no need to set a maximum cost per click bid limit yet because we don't know what those costs per clicks actually are. Of course, when you do your keyword research, it's going to give you an estimate or a guess, but that also depends on your match type of keywords, which we will get into in a minute. So I know I'm saying a lot of stuff a little early because everyone here watching this is going to have a little bit of a different level of expertise. So I want to just make sure that I'm explaining everything that I'm mentioning, but match types for keywords is going to be phrase, exact, and broad. So we aren't even sure what this is going to be. So I never ever recommend you make any cost per click bid limit yet because you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot, but you want to see what you get first. So let's leave that. No, we do not want to bid for new customers only. So let's go ahead and click next. So one of the biggest things that I see inside Google Ads campaigns when I'm auditing them is that people leave these on. So let's go ahead and turn both of these things off because Google Search Partners is basically all the websites that Google has partnered with, right? So they have all kinds of weird websites. One of them is even called dogpile.co. Obviously, one of those is YouTube because they own YouTube. But if you're going to run YouTube ads, then let's just make a video campaign. No, I do not want to be advertising on dogpile.co or like DuckDuckGo or any of that kind of stuff. We're going to be sticking to Google on here. So make sure you don't have this checked. And then display network. No, we don't want to be popping up on websites and on the banners of sites and on the sides, and we don't want to be on YouTube. Again, if we're going to do that, we're going to do that the right way, and we're going to do a display campaign, a performance max campaign, or a video campaign. So make sure you have these unchecked. Google always likes you to spend as much money as you can, or I guess a better way to say that is Google always wants to spend your money. So no matter what you set your budget to, there's always so many adjustments you could make, or regardless, Google is just going to make sure that money gets spent. So we want to make sure that we're spending it in the best way possible. So feel free just to leave those. Now down to location targeting. So one of the beauties of e-commerce, one of those things that I mentioned at the very beginning, the beauties is that you have access to nationwide targeting. Obviously, this doesn't account for every single person watching this video. Obviously, if you're in telemed and you're selling semaglutide or tirzepatide, you might only have select states that you're able to operate in. That is more of a niche thing, but for the most part, most of you guys running your e-commerce companies, you're going to be selling throughout the whole United States. So instead of just clicking the US, we're going to pull up this little menu here and we're going to click presence. And it's originally always going to be set to presence or interest because again, remember I mentioned that Google always wants to spend your money. So if someone lives in France and they're thinking about visiting the US, then they're going to be seeing your ads because these are people who have shown interest in the US. So again, make sure you have presence clicked, especially if you're, again, in anything medical related, you might not even be able to advertise or be able to sell in those countries. So make sure that you're complying with whatever your business needs. But instead of also just clicking US here, we're going to click on add another location and we're going to go to advanced search. So this is a little bit easier since we are going to be selling nationwide for this example. But what I like to do is, of course, we're going to enable US. I'm sorry, I went through a little bit quickly, but if you type in the United States here, you're going to see it. You can just click include. So again, if you're going to be at like a state level or like a city level, like if you're just selling in Phoenix, you're going to want to either choose zip codes, neighborhoods, or use a radius, or just type in Phoenix. But thankfully, again, we're going all US. But one thing that I like to do, and let's say that you do sell to these other countries, then I would suggest either putting those in this campaign, or if they're not your biggest priority, then waiting and putting them into a new campaign. But anytime you're starting ads for the first time, you always want to start very, very narrowed in and then branch off and get bigger as you go. Because if you start super wide on all your targeting, all your keywords, what you're selling, everything, then you're going to have to recoup and you're going to have to narrow down to make everything profitable. But if you can think of one avatar of your business, right? Let's close our eyes. And if I think of, okay, if I could pick one guy in the world, or sorry, I jumped the gun. If I could pick one person who's going to be, buying this product, who would it be? In my eyes, I see an early 30s man in probably somewhere like California or Florida buying an ice bath. Realistically, that's probably close to the target demographic. So I think of that person. So when you're starting your first set of Google ads or you're building your account for the first time, you want to think of who that person is. So that's why we're going to start with just the United States. We're going to nail this, this one demographic, this one avatar. And then as you start to generate profitable ads, as you start to optimize and make a profitable Google ad account and Google ad campaigns, then you can expand your locations, your keyword targeting, etc. But we are going to stick to US for here. And then what I like to do is I like to go ahead and exclude Canada. I like to exclude Mexico. Another reason why, so I'm right here in Arizona in Scottsdale, and I see people who are just selling locally and they have a lot of traffic that bleeds over to Mexico and wastes a lot of spend. So especially if you're in California, or even more especially Southern California, Vegas, Arizona, Texas, whatever, always make sure you get rid of Mexico, you exclude it just so you don't have any traffic being spent over there. I always like to get rid of China. I remove Pakistan, and I do remove India as well. Just a lot of times I'll see spam going through accounts or more fraud clicks, and it's just spending money. And same thing with sales. I guess you don't see it as much with sales, but if we have like a lead form for a company, we'll see guys in India using VPNs, or a lot of the times not. And they'll be filling out our forms trying to sell something or just showing spam. And we'll see that like the location area code was I guess it says Asia/Pacific, I believe. So just to remove any kind of spam, any false clicks, any wasted spend, whatever, I like to just kind of exclude those countries that I see typically the most spam from. So go ahead and save that. So this is what our location targeting is going to look like. We're going to go down. Obviously, if you're selling in any other language, change this as much as you like. But for this case scenario, we're going to be using English. Scroll down. So audience segments is going to be kind of like, maybe some of you have used meta ads before, but there's like a demographic and interest in behavior-based targeting. And you can do something kind of like that in Google ads, but we're not going to be doing that for the search campaign. That's going to be for more the middle and top of funnel strategies, which is going to be like the Performance Max campaign, the video campaign, where we're not just relying on what people search, but we're showing it based on interests and behaviors, demographics, etc. So we're not going to mess with this now. So let's just go ahead and get that out of the way. No need to put all this mumbo jumbo in here. Broad match keywords, this is already off. Let's leave it as off. We're not going to do any smart bidding. We're going to manage all this ourselves, and I'm going to show you why, because we're going to be very specific with the types of keywords and the match types of keywords that we use. So moving down from that, automatically create assets. We're going to say no, because we don't want Google, like if you read it, use my content for my landing page, domain, and ads in combination with assets I provide. So basically this means that Google's going to try and leverage their AI, and they're going to be directing people to different pages of your site and using different text than you provided. And we don't want to be using any of that. We want full control. And again, especially if you're in anything in the health and wellness industry, that can be a really big disaster. You don't ever want to have any false claims or misleading information, especially in the health and wellness sector. But in general, I always want to keep that off. I want to have full control. You can pull up this thing, more settings right here. This is just like ad rotation. Obviously, we would like to have our best performing ads being shown the most. That's pretty standard across the board. Feel free to leave that. Start and end dates, keep that. You can always turn off ads whenever you want, because ads are going to be spent on a daily budget. So kind of like I mentioned how for this example, we're going to be spending $10,000 a month. That is going to be a $333 a day budget. So that can always be turned off at a literal click of a button. So no need to worry about that. And then ad schedule all day for e-commerce. That's going to be all day. If you are a local service business and you're closed on Saturday, Sunday, and you don't want to be spending money on those days and come to the phones on Monday and call all those leads back and realize that they've already gone with someone else, then you can change that Monday to Friday. But for e-commerce, for these low ticket purchases, we're going to do all the time. So no matter what time. All right. So now that we are done with this, we're just going to go right ahead and click on next. Basically, when you're creating a search campaign, you set up all the foundations, right? We set our bidding, campaign objective, etc. Some campaign settings, little adjustments, location targeting. Now what it does is it brings you right into actually making your first ad group and your first ad. So if you're not familiar, pretty much every ads manager across X, TikTok, Reddit, Meta, Google, they're all kind of the same structure, where whether they use the exact same wording or not, it is the same thing. But you have your campaign as like the umbrella. So your campaign is just going to be like major location settings, the objective for ours, like website traffic, stuff like that. Then under that, you're going to have an ad group or an ad set. So you can have multiple ad sets, multiple ad groups, but it's all going to be under one campaign. And then under those ad groups, so those ad groups are almost like categories. And then under those ad groups is where you're actually going to have your ads. So I know it can be kind of confusing, but in a campaign, that is everything that is attached to it. So when you're making your search campaign, and now we've gone past all those basic campaign settings, campaign objective, etc., it brings us right into actually making our first ad group. This lets you get a little bit more in the weeds. So your keywords are going to be attached to your ad group. So what I like to do with ad groups is I like to use ad groups almost as their own service or their own product. So I like to segment them like that, because again, if your keywords and your actual ad headlines and ad copy is going to be attached to these ad groups, then you want to be as specific as possible. So let's say that you are this company, for example, right? That we're like kind of pretending to be, right? If you were going to be selling this, the portable ice bath, you're going to be selling this sauna, then you're going to be selling this sauna heater thing, you are definitely going to want, at a minimum, a different ad group for each of these, because again, your keywords are going to be attached. So you don't want someone who's going to be looking up portable sauna to be seeing your ad headlines about an ice bath, because you have all your keywords in the same ad group. So the way that I look at it is I always use ad groups basically to separate my services or my products for my clients for the most part, or just different language. But again, we're just going to get into the one. For now, for this video example, we're just going to be selling the actual ice bath. So let's just use that. What this is going to want you to do is Google's trying to leverage their AI. So it's like, hey, let us help you create your ad. Give us the URL and we're going to give you some ideas, right? Skip that. Most of them suck. To be honest, look at, they're already trying to chat. They're like, whoa, don't go anywhere. Yeah, we're going to leave. So right into it, it's going to ask us what we want the name to be. So I like to make this easy, and I like to make it, again, these naming mechanisms are really important just for you, especially, again, e-commerce. You have a lot of assets, a lot of campaigns, a lot of ad groups, a lot of mumbo jumbo. So let's make this really easy. So if we're going to be let's just do portable ice bath, because that is what we are selling. Whoa, that is what we are selling. So that's what this ad group's going to be. Right into it, it's like, okay, what are the keywords? So as you can see here, it used our website that we put at the very start, and it did its own scrubbing for its own keywords. And obviously this is not what we want, because we gave it the final URL for our whole website, so it used it to just scan everything. So you see sauna, steam, and portable whatever. That's not what we're looking for. We want to be very specific just for this portable ice bath. And another little thing I like to note here, and another demonstration of how Google is really good at making sure you spend all the money that you set for your budget, they made all these keywords a broad match keyword. So as you can see right here, there are 3 different keyword types, and you can go ahead and read them for yourself, but I'm going to read them out loud. You have the broad match keyword, which means it's just this. You just put out the word. That's what a broad match keyword is. And if you want a keyword to be a phrase match, you're going to put these quotations before and after. And if you want an exact match keyword, you're going to put these brackets. So it would just be the same thing right here. Home sauna, that's going to be the bracket. So that's exact match. And I'll just put this one in here too, just so you can see all 3. So again, we have the exact match, the phrase match, and the broad match. So it is very, very different what types of searches you're going to be getting based on the types of keywords that you see. So let's separate these out a little bit. If I use the phrase match keyword for home sauna, any search that someone looks up that has home sauna in it will trigger this phrase match. So that means where to buy a home sauna. This Google search would trigger this keyword, right? Anything that includes this phrase before and after, even for cheap, this would still come up. Home sauna phrase match would still be triggered because this phrase is in that search, okay? Pretty straightforward. And then home sauna, an exact match, means that yes, there is some give and take. So if I looked up home saunas with an S, it would still come up just because Google's smart enough to know that it's a close enough variable, it's a close enough search. But for the most part, an exact match is exactly what you'd think. It's just exact. So someone has to type in this exact thing. So if I typed in where can I buy a home or where to buy a home sauna for cheap, then this exact match would not get triggered. Someone just has to be looking up home sauna. And then broad match, this is where Google likes to get you, because broad match, especially at a nationwide level, can trigger all kinds of different searches. So anytime someone searches anything that has the word home or has the word sauna in it, that makes you liable to get picked up on the search engine result page and get clicked on and waste your money based on that. So it's a very, obviously the keyword's a broad keyword, and it's just very broad. So I could be typing in how to do some home renovations. If someone Googled that and I happen to not spend all my money that day, other competitors had, whatever. Spelled that wrong. So there's a chance that someone will search this and then my ads will come up for my home sauna and someone could click on it and go, oh, this is not what I wanted. I thought maybe someone's gonna teach me how to make a home sauna. That would be cool. I was curious. I don't want to buy a home sauna. Click back. Now, once someone clicks back, they've already spent your money, and now you're going to look in your search themes, and someone's going to look up this, right? So someone could even be looking up, are saunas bad for you? There's a chance that gets picked up too. So what I'm trying to say is Google's always going to recommend broad match keywords because it's going to always make sure that your money gets spent, but you want to be really, really careful. And the cool thing about e-commerce companies is that there is typically a lot of searches for almost anything, right? Because now we're selling at a nationwide level. There's what, 400 million people in the US. So I'm sure that for almost any search you can think of, there's at least some volume. So there's no need for us to go into the broad match of ice baths when there is already searches. So speaking of that, there are multiple ways to do keyword research. The most common and most basic one is just going to be inside Google Ads under tools, and it's going to say keyword planner. You're more than welcome to use that. After we make this campaign and we get out of this section, I will show you how to use that. But I like to use an SEO tool. There's all kinds. There's SEMrush, Ahrefs. I like to use Mangools because when I type in a keyword here, such as ice bath, it also gives me related terms. So this actually helps me find new keywords to use. Okay, so when you're in the keyword planner, if I just type in ice bath, it just gives me ice bath. But if I don't know the market indefinitely or I want to see what's going on, it makes it really hard. So this gives me all related ice bath searches, which I love because it helps me put in more keywords. So right here, right? There are 53,000 searches a month in the US because I have this location targeting set up for US. 53,000 searches a month for ice bath. So there's no reason for us to be needing to do a broad match keyword when there's already 53,000 searches. And the CPC here is NA for whatever reason, but as you can see, oh, that's a big one. But for the most part, they're a couple bucks on average, right? So unless you're going to be spending like $106,000 a month just on this, then we're not going to cover all the searches, okay? So don't worry about that. So what I'm going to do here, let's just do some keyword research together. So let's look at more at this. So this is a recovery pod, recovery chiller, ice bath, portable ice bath, etc. So let's just do a little bit more. But for the most part, that is what we're selling here. What I mentioned to you, when I use different ad groups, I like to use them for different products and different services. I do. So now that you have that understood, great. I'm going to add a little bit more of a piece of information to that to kind of help you. So I wanted to plant the seed for that information earlier so you get it and makes sense. Okay, you know what ad groups are used for, but I'm going to put a little wrench in there. So I like to also use different ad groups to almost explain products and services better. Okay. For example, if we're selling an energy booster and energy supplement and all natural energy supplement are three different things. And you might be saying, okay, well, John, it's the same thing, right? We're selling an energy supplement. Energy booster means the same thing. Yes, you're right. I totally agree. If someone looks up portable ice bath or cold plunge, it is the same thing, right? They are looking for the same thing, but there are so many ads out there in this world. And when someone types in this one thing, they're going to be seeing so many different ads. You want to be as contextual and what I like to call as hyper segmented as possible. So if someone looks up energy booster, they should not be seeing ad headlines for the best all natural energy supplement because that's not what they're looking for. Yes, the product might be the same core, but it's quite literally not what they're looking for. So they look for an energy booster. You showed them an all natural energy supplement. So this is where a lot of your extra time is going to be going into because you're like, Johnny, this is kind of repetitive. This is a little ridiculous. And I kind of agree, but it works really well when you give people exactly what they are looking for. So that being said, I would have multiple ad groups just for this product. I have one that's just for portable ice bath and then one for cold plunge. Because if someone Googles cold plunge and they keep seeing portable ice bath stuff, yes, it is the same thing, but it's not because they looked for cold plunge and you're showing them a portable ice bath. Even though that the actual thing itself is the same, but it's not what they looked for. So you want to make sure you're feeding people exactly what they're looking for. Being hyper segmented and speaking directly to your audience is going to help you a ton. So, and especially that's also going to help you win more clicks over competitors because I'm sure that a lot of people are more lazy and they don't have it set up like that. So if you can speak directly to someone, then it's going to help you a lot more, right? So that being said, we're just going to use one ad group for now, just for this example. We're going to do portable ice bath. Okay, so now let's do some keyword research together. So we have ice bath. Well, let's just go ahead and put that in there. I know it's portable. Same thing. I know you're going to be like, Johnny, you just said it's not the same thing. Portable and ice bath is the same. I mean, I'm assuming that people aren't looking to build an ice bath in their home because that just doesn't make any sense. So it being portable is just a part of the product itself. Okay, so don't critique me, but cold plunge and ice bath are different. So we're going to put ice bath. And we're going to use an exact match keyword because ice bath. Just the term ice bath. This is all someone looked up. Has 53,000 searches a month. So there's no need to make it broad. Let's find some other ones. So let's just check this just so you guys can see which ones we have in there. Ice barrel, no. Ice bath near me. So that's people probably looking to go to like a wellness clinic or like go to a gym that has ice baths. So we're not going to do that. Let's see, ice tub. Even ice tub could be its own ad group just to separate it. I know, ice bath, ice tub, and cold plunge are the same exact product here, but you very well could use 3 different ad groups just to speak more directly. Let's see. Okay, portable ice bath. Hopefully this copies the way I want it to. Of course not. That's okay. So we only have 2 keywords right here. And you might be thinking, whoa, we gotta have a lot more keywords than that. And you could be right. Maybe you find out that you do need more keywords because you're like, John, this is just not enough. Here's the cool thing about Google. Cool and not cool. Your budget is gonna be spent at a campaign level. So even if you have 10 different ad groups under that one campaign, Google is gonna be spending your budget on the ad group that is getting the most clicks, whether it's the highest converting or not. Let's say you have 9 ad groups that all have exact match keywords, and then you have one ad group that has a broad match. Guess which one's gonna be spending the most? It's gonna be the broad match because it's able to get more clicks and pull in more searches. So again, you are gonna have several different ad groups under one campaign. So not all your spend is gonna be going right to this anyways. In our research right here, I don't really know what else I would want to add. Let's just type in portable ice bath. Feel free to get creative if you want, but I just don't think we need one. Ice bath inflatable, that's okay too. Sure, we can go ahead and add that one. Let's do a phrase and let's do inflatable ice bath for the most part. You know what, actually, let's make that exact because that is long enough anyways. As we saw, there are several thousand searches for that for the most part. Or I guess, okay, a little under 2,000, not as many. And then now that we have these main keywords, we're gonna make a couple of them. Or I might actually, for this, just make one of them a phrase match. So let's do portable ice bath. Let's just make that one a phrase. Ice bath could be a little bit too broad, but portable ice bath seems like people are gonna be looking for this exact thing. So again, I'll show you how to look at your search terms, but in the future, if people are looking up unrelated things like how do I fix my portable ice bath or whatever, etc., then we will get rid of it. But I almost use exact match keywords as like the anchors, and then I use phrase match keywords as the soldiers, and their job is to go out, get more soldiers, and come back, right? But the exact match are the anchors, so we have one arm in and one arm out, and we're trying to bring in and recruit more keywords to add. So this is our bait. This is our soldier, and we don't need to have broad like we talked about. So let's just scroll down now. So now that we've done the keywords, and now that took me way too long to explain, but I really wanted to beat that horse to death so we can really understand that, because that is a really crucial part of how your money inside Google Ads is going to get spent. So now we're making our first ad, and as you can see, this is kind of what it's going to look like. Obviously, these headlines aren't filled out. Obviously, this is my brand logo because this is one of my test accounts that I already have in here. So the final URL is where are people going to be going to once they click on an ad. So obviously, I'm sure you know what a Google ad is. If we type in portable ice bath and someone goes to a search, that's going to be one of these, right? So when someone clicks on this, where do they go? Boom, they go to the portable ice bath product landing page, which is going to be this, which is going to be this, etc. So we're going to go ahead and grab this. This is going to be our final URL. So that's where people are going to be going. Display path. This is almost just for show. Google's talked about in the future how they want to almost base some targeting off of just this display path. But all this is just, it's just the extra little bit after the slash. So when people see it inside the actual search engine result page, it just adds a little bit more emphasis on what it is. So all I'm going to do here is just portable portable ice bath. You can even be a little fancy and do the best portable ice bath or cheapest or however you want to do it. But this is how it looks here. For example's sake, I'm just going to leave that. Let's scroll down here. Now, these are going to be our headlines. So as you see, the headlines are in here, 1 and 2. Typically, there is 2 headlines shown at once inside of a Google ad when you see one on the Google search engine result page. If they are really short and you only use one that's a few words, then sometimes there's 3, but for the most part, there's usually always 2 at a time. So here is how I come up with the best headlines for us to use. So again, we are created the ad group, and now we're creating the ad. So this is just one ad, and there's 15 headlines and 4 descriptions for the search campaign. So what I recommend is that we're going to have multiple different types of ads under each ad group. So once we actually make this ad group, I'm going to show you how we could add more ads to it. And that's just going to help you get more variation, try more headlines. Something that I always like to say and that I like to use is I like to have multiple different ads under each ad group and have one ad be for one specific angle, if that makes sense, right? So let's just say that for this ad, we're going to do all ones based on price. Okay, the market's really sensitive about price. There are lots of competitors, and we are the cheapest, so we want to make these headlines all about the cheapest, most affordable, etc. Then we would have another ad that hints at the emotional, right? So people are only ever buying a product or service as a vehicle to get something that they want, right? So what does someone experience emotionally when they buy a cold plunge, right? Oh, unleash wellness, or start recovering faster at home today, right? Stuff like that. Or wake up refreshed, start your morning right, stuff like that. Those type of headlines. And then I also like to use one. So we talked about price. We talked about the emotional angle. I like to add one that's about expertise for local service. That one doesn't really adhere much to this because there's not really much of an expertise. But if you've been in business for however long, you have 7,000 reviews, you've got 20,000 customers, etc. Feel free to add those. Again, those kind of work more with local service if someone's going to be trusting like a surgeon or doctor or a plumber or a local anything. Then the next one I like to add is going to be all offer based. So if you have, let's say you're doing a 2 cold plunge deal where the second one is half off, I like to have one ad that creatively mainly talks about that. And then I'll show you how to in a little bit, but then we're going to be looking at which assets, which headlines are getting the most clicks from each ad, and then we're going to mix them together. So if the cheapest makes the most sense, if people like the fact that you said 7,000 reviews and people like this offer, then we're going to go ahead and make a catch-all one in the future. So I know what you're thinking. You're like, Johnny, that is way too much work. We're doing different ad groups for the very specific type of keyword, and then we're doing multiple ads for different angles. Well, unfortunately, you're right. It is an absolute lot of work, and it can sometimes seem almost unnecessary, but if you don't want to be lazy and you really want to have a highly profitable, highly effective, highly scalable Google Ads account for your business, this is just what it takes. This is not something where you can set it up and leave it. You can't set this up and forget it. This is going to require constant optimizations, which we'll get into in a little bit, but I do want to warn you that this stuff is not easy. And if you go the extra mile, I can promise you that if you go the extra mile correctly, that it will pay off, because there are not a lot of people going the extra mile. And that's how I see the most results is hyper segmenting, being as specific and direct as possible and not being lazy. So let's go ahead and make some headlines. So what I always like to do first, for me, for my agency, if I am going to be building a landing page for more local service or lead gen, again, I'm not going to take this client and build them a whole new service or product page because they have everything here. But typically, if we're going to be doing a new service like weight loss injection clinics for a local clinic, then I'm going to make our own lead gen page. So I know that, hey, all the copy on here is going to be stuff we're going to be using on the Google ads. It's going to be congruent. That's going to give us a higher quality score on the keywords, higher ad rank. Google's going to love it. We're going to love it. People are going to love it. Great, right? But for this, they already have product landing page. They've probably already done millions of sales through here, so we're not going to change it. So if I was going to be doing ads for an existing product page, I like to use things that are already on here. So use all of this stuff, right? Again, I know I mentioned to you that I like to really break down my ads in the angles, but we're just gonna be making a catch-all so I can show you guys how to actually, get just overall how you generate ad copy, how you come up with ad copy, right? So some of these things right here where it says less stress, better mood, etc., those are gonna be like the emotional, and we can add all of these together. So first, let's just start off. And if you use your keywords, it's gonna help you too. As you can see, you have some things here. None of this stuff really matters a ton in terms of like actual performance, but it does help your ad rank which is your ad strength, I should say, for this. So of course, we always want to be using our keywords in a lot of the copy, not all the copy, but we want to make sure that people, you know, when they're looking something up, that they're getting what they're looking for. Kind of something that I really beat the bush on earlier. So just to make sure, let's just start with one. Let's start simple. Portable ice bath. Great. Perfect. Nice start. We're all done. No, I'm just kidding. So let's just look at this a little bit more. So let's see if I do, oh, wow. 265,000 people and others love this. Let's see if this will fit. This is pretty long. Wow, exactly. Okay, so as you can see here, you have to have a max character limit of 30. So sometimes it can be really, really hard to find good ones because you're like, Johnny, that's just not enough text. Sometimes it feels like it's not, but you got to remember that 2 of them are going to be put simultaneously. So what I like to do is I don't want to see this number first. And quite frankly, this looks a little bit ugly up here. So what I like to do is I want to make sure that this is always going to be shown second. So the first thing people see, I want it to be what they're looking for. And then I want to use this second space here as a reinforcement. Okay, we don't want to use that as the first thing people see. And honestly, this kind of looks bad up there. It's just a big number. It's kind of goofy. So you know what? I'm actually honestly gonna remove that. So that's all part of this too. Is you have to test things out. So let's just see how it looks. Again, this is all gonna be a catch-all ad right here. Let's make this one full muscle recovery in minutes. That's probably gonna be too long. In minute. Now see, unfortunately, it's just not full muscle recovery. We can change this one to achieve. Get seems a little basic, so let's do achieve full muscle recovery. Endless health benefits. Let's see if this one fits. It does. Let's do less stress, better mood. Okay, we kind of got that done. The original ice bath. Let's see if this fits. Wow, perfect. So another thing to be looking at when you're doing ad copies, you want to keep the same sentence structure. So for headlines, I always like to capitalize the first letter of every word. It just looks cleaner. And then in descriptions, I don't. But if you do one of them like that, make sure you do all of them like that. So I'm going to set these as position 2 again, because we want these to kind of just reinforce the main things, right? So let's go ahead and I'll make this one number 1 as well, because we don't want a headline to be shown where it says the original portable ice bath and then dash portable ice bath, right? That would be really, really repetitive. Google doesn't let you pin everything. It'll tell you you have too many things pinned, but as long as you have everything pinned either the first or the second, there's only one other option as to where it can go. So there's no need to do 1 on these if we're going to do 2 on the other one. So you can leave these ones unpinned because again, Google's not going to let you. So let's just look at some more. Water chiller. Let's just look. So use this as a time to kind of look for yourself too and see if you find anything on this page that you would like to add. Get 50% off. Let's add that. See how you can get 50% off. Because right here, it's not very clear how. So just going to leave that. If it popped up on the screen and was like, hey, sign up for our email system, get 50% off, then I would put that. But right here, it's kind of hidden. So we're just going to leave that. Free shipping is a good one. Make this one position 2. Let's do free shipping. Another one. 1-year warranty is good. Let's add, oh, it's going to be too long. Let's do free shipping. Let's look at this again. Let's do 1-year warranty. 100-day returns. So these ones are a little short. These ones are kind of a little bit redundant. Shoot, we're not going to be able to add that because right when we add this plus, I wanted to add both of those, but we can't. That's okay. Some of these are a little bit short as we see, and we're not going to want these ones in the front. So adjust accordingly. Again, this is an example I'm making of just like a catch-all ad. When I do it for real, it would be a little bit more strategic because you don't want to have all these little one-liners on the exact same thing because you don't want it to look kind of sloppy. You want to do it more strategically, but I'm just showing you how you can scrape a landing page and find more stuff too. Do all the stuff too, as shown on BuzzFeed or as shown in Men's Health. Learn the benefits or discover the benefits of using an ice bath. Get a stronger, if you're advertising in the winter, maybe January, December, talk about a stronger immune system, reducing inflammation. Learn about the real science. This could be a site link, which I'll show you in a minute. But just overall, be a little creative. This is a good one. America's #1 selling ice bath. All this stuff is really, really, really good. Ice baths designed for simplicity. Again, not gonna go way too into this one. I'm kind of just showing you how to set it up. So let's go down. One thing I also want to show too is if you ever stuck or you're the one making the landing page or you're like, there's just not enough stuff here, or I'm just kind of lost. I really want some more stuff, then I recommend using ChatGPT. So what I like to do is I like to come into ChatGPT, and there's something that's called the Google Ads Copy Wizard. So if you go to Explore GPTs and you type in the Google Ads Copy Wizard, it should look a little something like this with this little pen here. Go ahead and click on that, and then click on the first option that says write new ad copy for my Google Ads campaign. So as you see right here, it's like, great, I'd love to craft high performing copy for you. Give me these 8 things. So what you would do is you just go number 1, obviously do this however you'd like. It's pretty straightforward. Put in the URL, put that here, give it all the information you want. Number 2, what are we advertising? This would be the portable ice bath, product or service description. Oh, I'm sorry. The name would be whatever the name of your company is. For this one, it's Nur Recover. The product or service description is going to be a portable ice bath. Unique selling points. That's where you're going to put free shipping, #1 best selling, this many reviews, all those little things. Portable, doesn't need ice, electricity, whatever. Target audience, call to action, buy now. Put all that in there, and what this is going to do is this is going to generate a ton of copy for you to use. I'm not going to go through this now just because we kind of already thought of some basic stuff just for enough of an example, but I always use this as a little bit of a foundation to kind of help me, and I use this as the same way that I used this when I was looking through the landing page, and I see something like this, right, or before, and I said as shown in Men's Health. That's not what this is exactly, but I kind of like turned it around a little bit, kind of spun it in a way to make it good for ad copy. Same thing with down here, where were we? When we're like America's #1 selling ice bath, stuff like that. So in order for it to fit and for it to look good in the Google ad copy, you always want to make sure that you're just kind of like manipulating it and changing it a little bit to always sound good. So I do the same thing I do on this landing page as I did with as I do with these ChatGPT results. Use it as a foundation to kind of help me get more things in my head and kind of twist those around and be able to formulate good copy. So we're going to move on from that. Descriptions are the same. These are 90 characters. So let's see. A good example of this could literally be this whole thing. Feeling muscle soreness, daily stress, or trouble sleeping, elevate your recovery and performance with the pod. That might be too long, but again, it's just kind of a very similar thing. You're going to have multiple sections in there, just like you would with the headline. So let's just go ahead and drop this in there. Okay, way too long. So let's do elevate your recovery with pod. Okay, I know that's not how you'd say it, but this is just for an example. And for me to move on, it's going to make me have 2 of those. So let's see, the original ice bath. Let's just go ahead and plop this one in here. Set this up however you'd like. Talk about your product as best as you can. All right, so now coming down to images. So when we go back to what our Google search looks like, so these are the images that are going to be next to your Google search ads. It's going to be these images. So again, it's not going to be any of these ones in the shopping feed, but it's going to be the ones, right next to it. So just make sure that you're showing good, high quality product photos. Always have a variation. I believe you can add up to 20 images in here, different shapes and sizes too. Some a little bit more rectangle, some a little bit more square, etc. And then again, something that I would really make sure to focus on is, remember how we talked about you have your specific avatar, you have your buyer. That's the person that you're selling to. So make sure that you have them in these images, right? So how I kind of closed my eyes earlier and pointed out that I think that our target audience, and for this example, this company probably obviously knows who their buyer is, but if it is that guy and is young or early 30s in California, then, don't have, a kid or an elderly woman in the ice bath in the image, because you want to try and speak to that audience and who your main buyer is. So make sure that all your ad copy, even images on your landing page. So notice how this is a man, this is a celebrity, that helps, but like overall middle-aged guys, probably middle-aged guy, seems like a middle-aged guy. There's a woman there, another woman there, middle-aged guy, but you see what I mean? So for the most part, you always want to be speaking to your audience. So you don't want to be showing everyone on here, because not everyone is your buyer. So if you have your ideal audience looking and they see an older woman using the ice bath, they're like, oh, okay, well, this isn't for me. I'm not an older woman. This is not going to help me the same. That's just kind of like the subconscious triggers that go off. So make sure that you're speaking directly to your audience in all of those, and especially in your ad images. So enough of that. Go down your business name. Obviously, you're not running this for Eberhard Media Marketing, so put your business name there. Same thing with your business logo, and then your site links here. So let's see if we can find a company using site links. So for some reason, when I make these videos, I have a hard time finding someone using site links correctly, which is just really sad. So let's just do Google Ad site links. So if we go to here and go to images, so this is what Google Ads site links are, right? So I'm sure you've seen these before. Another example, if I click on this Pizza Hut one right here, you see order online, etc. So the reason why that I love site links is because this is a way for you to take up more digital real estate. So you see how, if we go back, these companies right here with the ice baths are not taking up very much. This is it. That's it, right? But now when you go forward and you look at these, look at how much more room you're taking up. And if someone wants to look more into your company, then there are more options for them to click on. But my favorite part is that we take up more real estate, especially if someone's on a mobile phone. They're not going to be side to side like this, but they're going to be in a line. So it takes up almost like half of someone's screen on the iPhone. So again, you want to be everywhere. So with these site links, I would put one that says shop all, just in case if someone wants to see what else you have. Again, so what we do is we'd put that in here, site link text, shop, let's say explore other products. Put that final URL in here. That's what that's going to look like. Let's say another one that we might go to is, let's say we want to kind of put the foundation that, people use us. We have users, whatever. So log in. Already an existing customer, log in here, etc. Right? Put log in. I'm sure you've seen some of these when you're doing any kind of searching. So little stuff like that. I don't know. These guys don't really seem to have like, oh, they do. Contact us. Contact us is always a good one. Well, that brings you to a whole different site, kind of. So careful with that one, I guess, for these, but always do stuff like shipping information or refunds and returns or contact us, or there's usually one about us or blogs. Those are really good ones to put in there too. So make sure you add some of those. But again, the main goal here is to give people more information, other options, ways to explore more things about your company. And the big thing is going to be taking up digital real estate. So call outs is the next one. So if I open up these and look at call outs. So for example, this is obviously, these are for my Google Ads agency, but if I click on these, it's going to show you where these go. So these are like these little like tidbits of information right at the bottom. So let's just go ahead and look up Google Ads call outs. So that's like these. This is exactly where they are, right? So again, I kind of showed you they're like little tidbits of quick information, free shipping, and they have like these dots in the middle that separate them. 24/7 customer service, price matching, right? So I'm sure we can find, if I go to Phoenix Plumber, let's see if we can find some. Right here. So this is exactly what these callouts are. They're right here. So again, just more emphasis on just like little stuff. Again, a lot of it is mainly just taking up more of this real estate, but it's also when someone's actually looking at your ad, they're able to get a good amount of information. So have ones that are related to you. For the site links, we kind of pick things from all over the website. Like we chose about us, contact us, blogs, other products, etc. But for these callouts, you want to be more specific to what you're selling, right? So an example of stuff that we could use for this ice bath is going to be stuff like all these like trust signals, these little things, right? I would put one that says free shipping, 1-year warranty, 100-day returns, full body coverage, inflatable cushion, stuff like that, right? Like all these spring sale, all those little stuff that is like these little tidbits, these little signs of trust, authority, deals, just to push up that product a little bit more and make it a little bit more juicy, if you know what I mean. So like same thing with mine, right? I have it here, book intro call, stand out, top agency, partner with us, boost sales. Same thing as we saw here with these guys, residential plumbing, emergency, best in class, stuff like that. So go ahead and just move past those. I'm just gonna not save because I'm not worried about it. For more assets, there is a lot of stuff here. Lead forms, it's kind of like Facebook lead forms if you've ever done those before in meta ads, but basically it's a way that someone can just click on it and fill out their information right away without ever going on your site. These are not really that popular in Google Ads, so don't worry about that. If you have an app, again, unrelated, the most related things here for e-commerce, you don't really want to do your phone number. You'd rather have people buy, you don't want people calling, and especially if you're a large company like this, that's just going to go to the 1-800 number. You guys aren't optimizing for sales, but if you are wanting to do calls, you would have a conversion event that's called call from ads. So for something like a plumber, it makes a lot of sense because someone can call right away. Here's a perfect example. So I haven't even gone on their website, but if I'm on a mobile device, or if I'm on my computer that can call or whatever, you could click call us right now and it would directly call them. And that would be called a call from ads. I just realized how many times I said the word call, so forgive me. But you get that for e-commerce, not going to need to worry about that. Prices right here for big things, you can do that. But instead of shooing people off right away at the look of a price, you want to use your landing page to help convert them, right? Because once someone clicks on your ad, then the work of the ad is over. And that's why it's really important to have really good high converting landing pages with good images, good information, social proof, doctors, as seen on this. We got Kevin Hart in here, Nate Diaz, UFC fighter. Those are things that help your page actually convert once someone's clicked on the ad. So showing your price is not needed, because if this price is a little bit more than someone else's price, but they're like, oh dude, Kevin Hart used this. Oh, I've been an Nate Diaz fan my whole life. This is the one he uses. Shoot, I'm in. Or they see these 100-day returns or stuff like that. That's going to influence them, right? So I wouldn't put your price on there right away. But what I would do is I would put price promotion. So as you see here, right, these are save 60 and 50% off. I would put those into the ads themselves. So as you can see here, if I was to click on this for my Google Ad services, that's what it looks like. It's an offer right there. But for you guys, again, I would do one. Like, let's say we want to do percent. Oops, that's currency. There's monetary discount, which would be like this, the $60 off or save $60, whatever. And then there's the 50% off. So let's just go with percent. Let's do 50, and then it's going to ask you what it is. So let's just do portable ice bath. So that's what it looks like. Boom. They click on that. The URL is going to be right here, because that's where they would, get this offer, etc. If there's a certain time it ends, like if you're running like a Christmas sale or a Valentine's Day sale or whatever, you can put like when this sale ends. But again, a lot of these discounts that a lot of these e-commerce companies have, and I'm sure that your company has one too, is like a manufactured discount. So I'm almost positive that this is the actual price. It's probably not going for 148 most of the time, and we just happen to be on their site during, a random good sale. But sale works. People like looking at discounts. People like cheaper things. People like to feel like they're getting a deal. So obviously, I'm sure you see deals everywhere, whether they're real or not. But that is just a really good way to do that and get that image off right away and tell people that, hey, we have a sale going. It speaks a lot of volume when people think they're saving money. All right, and then now skipping past all those, because we kind of talked about why we don't need these. Well, I guess one thing you can do here actually is called structured snippets. So the only thing is that these are just really, really similar to the callouts. I almost don't use them a ton, because if we go ahead and look, we do Google Ads snippets examples, you go to images, they look really, really similar. So I typically do one or the other. As you can see here, right, these ones that are the hyperlink that are blue, you can click on these and they'll take you somewhere. Those are the callouts, and then these, as you can see, they're pretty much the same thing. They almost use the same thing as the snippets. So I personally really don't use them if I'm going to use both, because it just seems a little repetitive. That's just my my thoughts on that, but you can do that if you'd like. Adding URL options. This is just going to be if you're doing any kind of like UTM parameters to track, right? So if you are selling a product, like these guys are selling this product, I'm sure they're running Facebook ads to this page, Google ads to this page, and then they're getting organic sales, referral sales, they got blogs, whatever. So if they want to make sure that, hey, is Google ads really doing what we think, right? Is it not just taking any conversions from other avenues, right? Like if someone sees this on Facebook and then they Google it and they happen to click on the Google ads link because it's the first thing that comes up, who really gets this sale, right? There's a thing called attribution, but one way to make that really clear is to make what's called a UTM parameter. So I'm not going to go into that really a ton, but it's basically you changing the ending of this link right here with some characters that would say like Google ads campaign, whatever. You set it up the way you want, so then you know in your Google Analytics that anytime that this exact link was clicked on, you know that's from the Google ads, because the only way someone is ever seeing it is inside this final URL all the way up here, or you can just put it in right in here for the UTM tracking. But congratulations, you have now made your search campaign, your first ad group, and your first ad. So what you do now is you just go to next. I'm probably gonna get hit with a bunch of stuff. Oh wow, I'm not, because I guess we did fill it out correctly. Again, so here you're gonna have to click confirm it's you. This is gonna pull up your Gmail app on your phone likely and make sure it's you before making any kind of budget decisions. So whether you have an existing campaign or not and you're upping or lowering the budget, it's gonna ask you to do this as well every 2 weeks at least. I'm gonna cancel that for now just because I'm not doing it. Custom budget for this, we talked about, we're playing the role simulator of us spending $333 a day total. So for this campaign, we're gonna start out as $111 a day. Boom, going. This is just our estimates. Not sure if any of this is actually right. We're gonna have to see once we get the ads actually going. So for now, we would click next. It would show us a review, but I am not gonna be running ads on behalf of this company because one, I think Google would ban me. And two, I don't really want to spend $111 a day for these guys. So, but I'm going to click out of this and discard this campaign. But for you guys, this is what you would publish. And again, congratulations. You now have your first search ad with your first ad group in your first ad that is live. Congratulations. All right, so now that you've created your first standard search campaign, I'm gonna go over some optimizations, some things to look for, and give you a couple little briefs here. So the first thing I wanna say, and it's great how it came up right away, but now that you actually are spending on Google Ads and you have created your first account, you have now been assigned a Google Ad rep. Yay! Not really. Okay, so these reps do not give you any helpful information. I have jumped on, unfortunately, when I first started, several calls with these guys just to kind of see if they had any information. They're going to email you, they're going to call you, they're going to text you, they're going to email your clients because they're going to be, your client's email is also under admin in the account settings. So they're going to bug everyone. And what they're going to do is no matter what your account looks like, no matter what you're selling, even if you're optimizing for sales or leads or whatever, or phone calls, they're going to tell you to use broad match keywords. They're going to tell you to change your target return on ad spend or your bidding strategy, and they're going to tell you to increase your budget. No matter what happens, I've had a couple clients who didn't listen to me when I gave them that advice, and they talk to the Google Ad rep and they go, "Hey John, guess what? Made a bunch of changes." And I go, "Oh my goodness." And we're optimizing for leads, and he changed his target return on ad spend goal to a 400% return on ad spend. I said, how can we even optimize for that if we're going for leads? We're not even going for a dollar amount. So that's just an example. None of their solutions they're ever going to offer you are going to be tailored to your account. They're all cookie cutter. They're all templates. It's change your bidding strategy, open up your keywords, and increase your budget. No matter what, they won't even look at your landing page. They won't look at your bidding strategy. They're just sales reps. They're not even industry experts at all. They're not experts. It says Google Ads expert. Don't trust them. Trust me. Trust these videos you see of other people online because we are actually here to help you. But now that we're out of that way, so now this is what your account's going to look like for the most part. Your Google Ad budget is not going to start spending fully till probably anywhere between 2 to 4 days. Most local service, for some reason I see it takes a little bit longer just because there's not as many searches, but for e-commerce, it can usually start spending within a day or 2, 3 days, but a maximum of 4 days. So when you make any significant changes like create a Google Ad campaign, or if you dramatically increase the budget by, let's say, more than 100% of what you're spending, you're going to put your ads into what's called a learning phase. So give Google time to process your ads, review them, find out where you're going to be fitting on the search engine result page, gives them time to analyze your keywords and find their quality score, etc. So again, if it's 48 hours and you don't see that your ads are spending any money and you do see that your campaigns are active, don't freak out. This is all part of it. So then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into an existing client's account and kind of show you some optimizations because as you saw, I didn't actually create this, this fake campaign for me. So I'm going to go into an existing client's search campaign and go over some little things with you. All right, so this is one of my clients and he is an IV therapy company in Los Angeles, California. We are getting him calls. So he's going for call conversions, and we are getting those for a little bit under $90. So now talking with this client every other week for the last 6 months, we know that on average, he closes about 75 to 80% of these phone calls, and his average order value when his nurses go deliver an IV is anywhere from $400 to $500. So we have around a 3.75 or a 4x or close to a 400% ROAS just from the first party data and me communicating with my client. And we have a masking number so we can always, all the calls are being recorded, tracked, and he uses a CRM to give me data on the return on ad spend. But as you can see, our main campaign here, we have 2 campaigns, but the main one with most of the spend is going to be this original search, one that we've been branching off and improving for a long time. So I'm going to go into what's called search terms. So anytime someone looks anything up on Google and your ad is triggered and they clicked on your ad, almost, I would say 75% of the time, you're going to actually see where that click went and what keyword was triggered, what they typed in. So you might be thinking, Johnny, where's the other 25%? Well, Google also sometimes hide these. They don't want you to see all the data, and it's not a great thing for us, of course. Also, some people are using, they did not accept any cookies, or if they are in incognito mode or anything like that is gonna, or if they have ad blocker, that's gonna reduce your visibility here. So we go to search terms. In the last 3 months, this is what everyone has searched up. There's some things that we've excluded, some things that we've added, as you can see, but you're gonna see a lot of metrics in here. So again, these are the clicks. Each of these search terms that actually triggers the type of word here you're going to be able to see, right? So this match type was broad. This was the search term, and it triggered this ad group. Okay, so for ones that are exact, like you can see, so we have a keyword in this ad group that is Ivy drip, or I believe it's drip Ivy, right? So that's going to be the close variant I was talking about earlier. But regardless, this is what everyone is searching up. And as you can see here, we have some basic metrics. You can always go into columns here and change anything you'd like if you want to see conversions, performance, etc. But some of the main ones we're going to be looking at here is just going to be clicks, impressions, click-through rate, average cost per click, the cost that's just gone into the, that search, the conversion rate, conversions, and cost per conversion. So looking at all these, this is how you're gonna, optimize these accounts. So, or this is how you're actually gonna optimize these search campaigns. So as you can see here, we excluded this Vepti infusion near me because that's not the name of my client's company. And as you can see, before we ever had traction on this account, this is one that was already in there for him. So before we ever took over his ads, if the average cost per click here is a little under $1, so not a ton, but that's still a lot of money depending on how much you're spending. So he spent, I don't know, a little over $100 on clicks for someone looking up Vepti infusion near me. And as you can see, it got no call conversion. So that was almost money down the drain. So you want to be making sure that you are very, very particular on what search terms that you're letting come into your account. So again, based on your business, this is some due diligence that you're going to have to do on your own. And one really important thing to note is that you're going to be making these negative keywords to prevent future search terms. And these negative keywords work the exact same way that a regular keyword does. So they have exact match, they have phrase match, and they have broad. So when you see something like this search term, and it says excluded, that means that we clicked this, we clicked add a negative, and we added this exact search term for a exact match negative. But you're going to see that we don't have a lot of other negatives in here. And you might be thinking, well, Johnny, not all these are relevant. Why don't you have all these negative? But if I see a search term or I see a word in a search term that we really don't want, I will make that negative keyword a broad match negative. So for instance, I know this kind of leans more to local service, but just so you can learn, if you are an asphalt paving company and someone is looking up cement, you're gonna want to make cement the broad match because you don't want any more other cement related keywords. Or a lot of them are like DIY or how to or cost or where. Like we've had people in here, I'm not going to waste the time to find it right now necessarily, but we've had people look up how to get rid of a hangover at home or how can I make my own IV fluid drink, stuff like that, right? So like a lot of how to, a lot of cost, a lot of researchers or research related keywords. We go right here and we go to keywords, we go to negative keywords, and then what we do is we put them in here. And as you can see here, we have a lot of exact match negative keywords just because those are ones that we saw right away. No need, like for instance, ambulatory infusion. So this is relating to an ambulance. We're just an IV therapy company. We have nothing to do with being an ambulance or an ER. So we don't want any searches for that. And we saw this one was triggered a lot. Same thing with antibiotic. We don't have any services for antibiotic. That's a medication. So broad, we got rid of that at a broad level. And then as you can see, a lot of these are exact. And if I scroll down and take a look, so as you can see, we have 418 negative keywords just for this one campaign. So for instance, we made drink abroad because we're not a drink. A lot of people, sometimes our keyword that gets triggered because we're in IV therapy is, a very popular product called liquid IV. So we wanted to make sure we got rid of like a drink or liquid. We have a lot of those. Cost here is abroad. We don't want anything related to cheap or blog or benefits because we don't want people who are looking up, oh, what are the benefits of this? We want people who are actively looking to buy. So that's just an example of making sure that you're always doing your due diligence and looking at your search terms, because especially when you just start out and if you are using a lot more negative keywords than you should be, then there are going to be a ton of unrelated searches. Like as you can see, some of these exact ones, right? Like anemia, not good. Artificial hydration, Australia drip, ascorbic acid, a banana bag, best hangover food. All that stuff is not stuff that should be being triggered. So we went ahead and as you can see, we've done our due diligence here. We have 418 negative keywords. So just keep that in mind. And then another thing I want to point out when you're on here and you're optimizing for, things on this side column, I guess, for a search campaign is what I would call it, is you want to go into your audiences. Always be looking at what types of people are actually converting for you. So when you click on information like this and you go to cost per conversion or conversions, you want to see, okay, what type of audience has my cheapest conversions, right? Of course, you don't ever want to nip this in the butt and do it when you don't have enough data, but when you have a good amount of data, you want to make sure that you're always looking at this, right? So for instance, anyone who, it seems like the younger audience, they are a little bit more expensive because hangover IVs, they aren't also this client's most expensive service either. And just because of the nature of his prices and where he is selling in his service area, he doesn't get a lot of this younger crowd, more the party, the hangover, whatever. But he gets a lot, as you can see, middle-aged people for recovery, for wellness, for illness, for jet lag, etc. So as you can see, his best customers are right here in this middle age range. So you don't ever want to nip yourself in the butt and get rid of an audience that where the majority of your conversions are coming from, even if they are expensive, because that's going to completely shift your account, because now you're also getting rid of volume. So if that's your case, I would recommend making some optimizations. But like, let's just say right here, let's find one that we don't like. I mean, these are all okay for what we're doing because there's not a ton of volume on these specific ones. But like, let's just say that we wanted to remove this, or as you can see, we removed 65 plus. So one of my first calls with this client, he said, hey, John, a lot of elderly people are calling and they're looking for like chemo or like vitamin C, or, you know, they're just overall elderly and they just didn't want to have any liability issues dealing with people who are over 65. So what I did here is I went to edit demographics, clicked on this, which is the ad group for this campaign, and I removed the 65 plus option. So that was based on first party data that I got from my client. But again, you can also use this for all types of stuff. So if you have a very expensive product, like those ice baths are $100, not bad. But if you have like a more medium or higher ticket e-commerce product and it's, let's say it's $1,000, you're probably not going to want to be showing it to 18, 19-year-olds because it's just very expensive, right? So if someone's looking for a little cheap pizza oven and yours is $1,000, not a lot of 18, 19, 20-year-olds are going to be buying a $1,000 online pizza oven, and I could be totally wrong. So again, you always want to remove your personal bias. But after you run your ads for some time and you see that, hey, we've had 50 clicks from this age range and no purchases, then you can probably assume that you were correct. You can remove this age range so people in this age range aren't seeing your ads. Also, too, depending on what type of company you are, you also can remove these household income levels. So I'm running ads for an auto shop and they get a lot of tire kickers, a lot of people who are just calling and price shopping. And so once I removed this lower 50% and honestly even removed these both, that it helped the call quality a lot. So the cost per conversion is going to go up a tiny bit, but it removed all of the wrong conversion data. Because if we're getting a lot of calls from a lot of tire kickers, Google doesn't know that first party data, so it just counts as conversions, and we don't want to optimize for more people that are just going to kind of waste my client's time or not end up going through with this. So we want to optimize for the best conversions too, and that's something that you're going to know, or if you're an agency, you're going to know that by talking to your clients. But again, this is always something to mess with. So there's that. And then another thing I want to point out here too is going into locations. So if you are, again, e-commerce, which is what this video is for, and you're at a nationwide level, you're going to have a lot more options here. But for a lot of service-based businesses, especially when the service is, my client going out to customers instead of customers coming to them, the range is pretty limited and it's always very specific. All right. And then another thing I want to show you guys. So I'm going to jump into one of my e-commerce clients. So here in the last 5 months or so, we've spent close to $250,000. We've generated close to $1 million for this client. The reason why I didn't show you this guy's search campaigns compared to the other client was because that client is only search. There's just a lot more information for us to see. But for this e-commerce client, we're not fully relying on the search. There's not a lot of his spend is there. So for this, what I want to show you is I want to go into the actual locations. So now, for instance, this client is selling in multiple different countries. But if we're going to go ahead and let's say, again, we're focusing on purely the US just for this sake, and you go to states, you can see all the different states, and now you can see information within these states. So for the most part, e-commerce, you're going to have the most clicks, the most volume, and the most popular state. So it's usually going to be, well, I guess here, they're right here, but these are actually the most popular states, of course. So this is where a lot of your searches are going to come from. It's going to be California, Texas, New York, Florida, for the most part. All this information is really, really, really good to look at. So when you're setting up ads and you've been running ads for some time and you realize that you have states where, for instance, maybe in a place like North Dakota or Minnesota where it's really cold all the time, that maybe cold plunges just aren't that popular because it's freezing. No one cares to do that there, right? Maybe in an area where, health and wellness and being outside with your shirt off and stuff like that is more popular, like maybe in a place like California or Florida, you might have a lot higher of a conversion rate. You might be getting conversions for a lot cheaper there. So you might realize over some time that you've spent X amount of money in Minnesota. Cost per conversions are really high, so you can go ahead and remove that from your targeting, right? So looking at locations is always really helpful, especially if you've noticed somewhere like, okay, all of our money for the most part is going into to California. You can break it off into its own campaign and do a California campaign where you have copy, you have images, you have everything that's more specific to California, right? So as simple as like having an image or a video where it's a guy outside with a shirt off and a palm tree behind him and like maybe a big, hill or mountain, people might notice that and be like, oh, this is California, subconsciously. And if that's where this user's at, this is again kind of diving into hyper segmentation and speaking more to this audience because you're showing them kind of them, right? For the most part. So again, breaking down locations, separating locations, and then changing copy and images to fit those demographics or to fit those geographics can help you a ton. But again, if you have underperforming or overperforming states, do what you need to do in here. But this is just a really good way to look at, where your money is best spent on the map. So then another thing I want to go into, right, is so now you have those ad groups, right? So in the campaign that we set up together, we made that portable ice bath ad group, and that was just the first one that we made. But I told you that typically for the most part, you're going to have multiple different ad groups inside of a campaign for different reasons, right? So this one right here, you have Italian charm bracelet, Italian charms, and stainless steel charm bracelet, right? So it's all going to be under the same campaign. We're going to be advertising for these in the same locations. So as you saw, it was Australia, Canada, and US. And then we have the same campaign objective, which is going to be those sales, right? But someone looking up an Italian charm is not looking for the same thing as a stainless steel charm bracelet, right? So again, same product, but slightly different because people are looking up something different. So even if it is the same, people aren't looking up the same. So that's what makes that different. So as you can see here, we have a different ad group for each of these. And one of the main reasons why I wanted to point this out is not only to show you that I practice what I preach and I'm not lazy when I run accounts, but I wanted to show you this because remember when I told you that the Google Ads budget is on a campaign level? So in Meta, your ad groups or your ad sets is where you can put individual spend, not on Google. So on Google, all your budget is at a campaign level. So remember what I told you, that whatever has the most search and the most volume, whether it's the most profitable or not, that's where all your money is going to go. So as you can see here, stainless steel charm bracelet has only had 3 clicks, and then Italian charm bracelet has had almost 9,000, right? And it's not that there was only 3 searches in the last however many months for these keywords that are in here, but it's simply the fact that all the budget is being hogged here and Google finds it more worth it to put it in here. But this also isn't getting properly tested, right? So we've already made this adjustment, but I wanted to show you this because we still have it here. But in another campaign, we've separately brought out stainless steel charm bracelet with its own budget just so we can test that on its own, because this didn't get fully tested and we still wanted to try it out, right? So you can't set up an ad group set up like this and say, hey, this is what's working the best. It's clear because this never got any love. So this is why it's important to make sure that you're using similar match type of keywords throughout a whole campaign, or it's going to be very easy to tell where your budget's going to go. And then one of my favorite things with this is if you're testing out multiple services or multiple different products, or even just variations of products, kind of how this is, Italian charm bracelet, Italian charms, and stainless steel charm bracelet. There are different terms of the same product. You can see where the actual volume is, and then you can use that to actually scale. So we know here that this is really good. Let's just look up like the actual ROAS here. So if I go to columns and I go to modify columns and I'm going to add conversion, I want to do the overall conversion value. So this is what we're looking at right here, just so I wanted to show you. So conversion value divided by cost basically is your return on ad spend, right? Because now you are dividing how much it costs you to get that sale on how much the actual value was, if that makes sense. So we already have that in here, but I just wanted to show you that is right here. So this is what is a 6.49x. So this is a 649% return on ad spend right here. And I just wanted to demonstrate that to you, kind of how this is set up. And as you can see, our second most popular ad group here as the 544, but this didn't get any love. So again, it's really important to know this information on what's performing, because this is what helps you scale, right? So having one search campaign and leaving it like this, going, cool, awesome, this performs really well, let's leave it. But this could probably use more spend. And you could look by going into columns, go to modify columns, go to what's called competitive metrics. And when you look at search impression share, all this little stuff, that's going to show you, okay, how much of the impression share is actually left still. So if you look and we see, okay, we're winning about 56% of the eyeballs of people who are looking up any of the keywords that are triggered inside this ad group. So this goes to show you that there is actually more spend there. So if you don't want to just spend more and then have it all be hogged by this is a form of scaling. This is how you scale an ad group or a successful product or any successful thing in your Google Ads account. One of the most popular ways to do that is to break out the winners. So what I would do here is I would duplicate this campaign, and in that duplicate, I would pause this one and let this one go on its own, because you don't want to duplicate the campaign and then turn off the main one in the original. All the data for this ad group is here. You don't ever want to lose that. But again, looking at some of these competitive metrics can really help you. So if we go here and look at more competitive metrics, you can see there's all kinds of stuff. So actual click share, what percentage are we getting? It's going to be, a percentage. So it's going to be dividing the total number of clicks on everyone's ads across the board who came up for those exact keywords. So meaning that people who are bidding and trying to get the same customers you are, and they're in the same auction, what percentage of clicks did you get? How many times were you at the absolute top? So when someone looked up a search term that triggered your keyword, how often were you guys at the very top? So looking at all these competitive metrics can help you kind of decide what to do moving forward, etc. But I wanted just to show you guys an actual breakdown of what it looks like inside an ad group, and how the spend works, and how you can actually scale a campaign or an ad group. And it's always going to be starting like this and then dividing and conquer, divide, conquer, divide, conquer, right? We could look at this ad group and go, oh, wow, in Canada, they actually aren't getting any spend at all, or Australia at all. So all the spend here is going towards New York, Florida, and in California. So, okay, well, Canada hasn't gotten any tested. So remember, we divide, we conquer. Now that this is winning and we have a 6.5x return, 650% ROAS, we're going to put additional spend. We're going to scale this up. And now we're going to let this go only in Canada. See how it does in Canada. We're also going to break this up and we're going to try this and see how this goes. And if this does well in Australia, then blah, 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 right? So this is how some e-commerce accounts, for the most part, not as much local service, because typically you can kind of stick to the basics with local service. But with e-commerce, there's this unlimited opportunity with the types of campaigns and the spend typically, because it's really easy to scale these accounts when they're successful, just because the margins are much higher typically. So again, divide, conquer, divide, conquer. So start small, one of each campaign for the most part. And then once you see what works, you break them out, break them out, break them out, break them out. Make sure everything's getting tested, try new things, etc. So I just wanted to show you some more information kind of deeper into actually scaling and observing data and looking inside a search campaign. You also want to always be looking at like your click-through rates. So if you go to like your actual ads here, but as you can see here, we have ads that have different click-through rates across the board. Then you also want to look at conversion rate, etc. So all that stuff is going to help you determine what kind of copy is working. And that's why I mentioned when we were actually making that search campaign, I'm like, hey, I like to have ads that test all different angles. I like emotional, I like expertise, I like sale, etc. Because all of those are going to show you, once you look at them at an ad level, of, okay, well, what's our click-through rate here? Okay, well, this ad only has a 20%, this one has a 31%, right? So there's a massive difference in why people are clicking on this ad compared to why people are clicking on this ad. And as you can see, the conversion rate on this ad is only 2%. 2.6% of people who saw this ad actually converted and got a sale. The cost per conversion here is 14 bucks. I don't anticipate the ROAS on this being as high as, we could pull it up, but you get what I'm saying. Something here for 31.23%. Conversion rate is 9.2%. And again, once someone clicks, the money is already spent, whether they convert or not. Google's already charged you whether they end up converting or not. So this high click-through rate is great, but the high conversion rate is what we're looking for. So we're able to get conversions here for 8 bucks a piece compared to 14. So this is a much more dominating ad. And these are different ad groups essentially, right? Because of the different product types, but you understand what I'm getting at. This is just a way for you to be able to compare apples to apples, etc. And this is what helps you build better and stronger ad copy and go, okay, there's a reason why people resonated with the expertise or the time or the price compared to these other headlines. So again, you always want to be sharpening your ad copy. And across the board, if you just overall see low conversion rates on everything, then that means that you're just not doing a very good job at converting cold traffic. And I always recommend that you put something like Microsoft Clarity or Hotjar on your website. So what it does is it groups together all traffic activity on your website, and it creates heat maps. You can see a library full of saved recordings of users' experience and see where they navigated around. And if people really aren't scrolling that much, then they are turned off. Maybe they are misled. If you see people are scrolling, but they're not getting to all the UGC content and like as seen in Men's Health and whatever, like in the ice bath example, and you think those are going to help people convert, then make sure you bring those up higher so people are seeing them, etc. So landing page is always going to help you convert. That's why I mentioned that I usually make landing pages for my clients, because as we know, conversion rate is the most important thing. So again, just because this ad itself has a 31.2% click-through rate, if it wasn't converting, it wouldn't be good. So everything in line and all high numbers shows that people weren't misled. They got exactly what they clicked on. And that's why that we break down these ad groups by slightly different search terms, because if someone looks up Italian charm and they click on your ad because it seems good, and then it says, hey, stainless steel charm bracelet, they go, well, that's not really what I wanted. They click out. That's not going to hurt your click-through rate, but it's going to hurt your conversion rate. So showing high click-through rate and showing a high conversion rate just shows the congruency and the smoothness that people had a good experience. They clicked exactly what they were looking for. The page had exactly what they were looking for, and everything checked out. It was one smooth thing. So you want high numbers like that all around, but that's just how ads work together. So again, congratulations. We have gone through most of the main optimizations for a search campaign. Obviously, you could spend a million hours looking at all this stuff and, breaking up certain things, dividing, making more ad groups for a couple search terms or a couple keywords, maybe having one ad group just for this one keyword because it gets 1,000 whatever, because, it has 1,000 searches a month. These ads aren't working as well as these ones. So we're going to make more copy. We're going to test new copy. These conversion rates change, etc. Right? So there's a lot of things to look at, but when I am overall optimizing a search campaign and I'm spending and I'm getting a lot of data, these are the main things that I'm looking for, and this is kind of how I divide and conquer. And anytime that you see a bottleneck, example, low click-through rates or low conversion rates, you always want to address those and go, okay, why are people not converting? Are they misled? Why aren't people clicking? Or do we have not, are our ads not compelling enough? Let's try more emotional copy. Let's try to push our offer more and show that we're doing 2 for 1. Maybe people like that more. And then you'll see over time these numbers change, etc. But this whole game is about dividing, conquering, and addressing bottlenecks. All right, congratulations. You have officially made it past chapter 1. You now know how to set up a search campaign the right way, how to do everything that entails, how to optimize it, how to kill it. You know what I do. My goodness, that was exhausting. I can see the sun is kind of going down a little bit, not all the way yet. So I'm putting a lot of time in this video. And eventually in a little bit, you're probably going to see the sun actually going down. So we are literally burning daylight making this video for you guys, but that's exactly what we're here for. So I want to show you guys another client account, because now we're moving into chapter 2 of this video, which is the second campaign we're going to be getting into, and that's going to be a standard shopping campaign. So a standard shopping campaign, thankfully, is, I would say, the easiest campaign to set up. And what that looks like is, so I already pulled this up, but if I go to portable ice bath, standard shopping feed is where you're going to be placed. So this is the shopping feed. So as you see, it says sponsored here. You're able to see the images, the title, these little gimmies, free by this, or a stars, or a discount, etc. This is where your ads will be shown if you're advertising in the Google Ads shopping feed. So if you are running a shopping performance max campaign, one of your placements would be this shopping feed, but we're going to start with the simple standard shopping campaign. So let's just go ahead and go to creating that. So again, let's just go to create campaign. You can do that here, or you can bring that down here as well and click right here. But what you're going to want to do is click on create campaign. And again, if this is a brand new Google Ad account, this is the first standard shopping campaign you're doing, you're going to want to start with website traffic again. All right, so now this is bringing us again to our conversion events here. So again, for e-commerce, it's primarily going to be sales, or which is right here at purchases. So if you've ever had another agency running ads for you, or if you're now watching this video because you're trying to rebuild an account and make it better, and let's say you've done other things in the past, you have all these conversion events, go ahead, and what you're going to do is you would actually remove all of these. So let's just stick it to purchases, because that's what we're optimizing for. We don't want people calling our corporate office of our building or filling out forms. We want them to buy, right? So make sure you have purchases set here. We're going to go down, and now we're just going to do shopping right here. And what it's going to ask you to do is it's going to want you to do a performance max campaign, but we'll get to that in a second. Right here, it's asking, okay, so if you're going to be showing your products on this shopping feed, you have to have what's called a Google Merchant Center account. So you have to have that set up. You have to have your products in there. So going through the Google Merchant Center is a different topic for a different video, but if you're running Google Ads or you have an e-commerce store in general, you're likely going to be set up with this. If not, make sure that you find this out. So having a Google Merchant Center is really, really crucial for any e-commerce business. If you have your items set up in here and you have it connected properly and everything is approved, then people can actually find you on this shopping feed organically. So it is a massive leg up. It's free real estate, right? It's like having your website show up organically in just the search engine result page, but for e-commerce style. And it's cool because now you're going to be shown first above everything. So as you see, Google ads are here, but the shopping feed is even higher. So of course, the guys who are sponsored, the guys running these Google ads like we are right now, they're going to come up above you just as out on a search engine result page. Someone's Google ads would come up before your website. So it's kind of the same thing, but once you have everything set up here, I know I have this blurred, but you're going to have a product ID for each product. So just kind of keep that in mind. So for most of you, you're just going to have one in here because you're running your own ads for the most part. But me as an agency, I have several. So I just want to make sure I click on the right one. And then kind of like I mentioned here, once you click on that, Google is going to be like, hey, let's do a Performance Max campaign. We're going to automate the reach across all channels. We're not going to do that. I'm going to talk more about why to not use a Performance Max campaign as a crutch. Again, it will save you time. It will be easier. But if you really want to dominate and have a successful Google Ads account that you can infinitely scale, you're going to have to trust me on going through the basics and setting up the foundation correctly. So we're going to click on a standard shopping campaign, which means that we are only going to be in the shopping feed. So this campaign is only going to be the shopping feed. Again, they really still want you to do that because they really want to spend your money. We're not going to let them. Go ahead and go to continue, move through here. Again, so enter your campaign name. This is just going to be for you. So the most popular way to actually set up the shopping campaign and how I recommend that you do it at the start. Again, this is for you guys who are probably making your very first campaign or your first shopping campaign inside your Google Ads account. So we're going to make this almost a catch-all. So if you had a smaller budget, let's say that you're spending less than $1,000 a month, then you're probably going to want to limit this to a couple of your products. But in this example, remember, we are role playing where we are going to be spending $111 a day per campaign because at the beginning of this, I mentioned that we're going to be role playing a Google ad account that's going to be spending 10,000 bucks a month. So for more of a budget, feel free to put multiple of your stuff in here, right? So if we were that ice bath company, the NeuroCover, we would have our main products in here. So these guys are good. They don't have a ton of products. A lot of companies have a ton of products. So just kind of be careful or blast them all, do whatever you want. But we only have 3 products. So we're going to make sure that we just have those in here. But for instance, it's going to be called a catch-all. So let's just name this standard shopping catch-all. That's really all we need here. And you can even actually go for clicks / traffic just to remind ourselves that we're not going here for sales, but this is just going to be for traffic. So again, we're going to be maximizing clicks. Let's see what we have here. Now, little stuff. Don't worry about any of that stuff. Maximize clicks again, because we're not going to be going for sales. So we don't want to set any target return on ad spend because we're not going for sales. We're going to be going for clicks. Set your daily budget. Again, for us in this example, we'd be spending $111, but you spend whatever you'd like. Bid equally for new customers. Yes, of course. Now this is your campaign priority. So if you have multiple different shopping campaigns, you're going to want to balance this out. But since this is our first and only shopping campaign for this example, we would just put low, which is just recommended. But if you have more than one, you're going to want to make sure you choose this on which one, of course, you would like to have a priority. But for now, that is not a priority for us. Remove the search network. This is what we talked about with the search campaign, where we don't want to be showing up on dogpile.co on YouTube. We'll save that for a specific campaign. Okay. Devices, all devices. Sure. Remember this location targeting. We switched this to people and presence. We entered a new location. We did US. We closed out China, Canada, Mexico, India, Pakistan, etc. Name the ad group, right? So if you're going to be doing a catch-all, so for instance, right, we are this company in this example, and we have our 3 products. So you're more than welcome to just have one main and just name it catch-all. And what you'll do, and once you get this going, you're just going to say, hey, every single product that we have approved inside of our Google Merchant Center, just run them. Go ahead, right? That would be you letting it do the catch-all, and we would get to that in a moment. But what you can do is if you want to segment your products, which I recommend you do, and it also depends on your budget and how you want to do that. So let's just say that you are a clothing company, and let's say that you have LA logo hats LA logo sweatshirts, LA logo mesh shorts, etc. Right? So you have all different types of products, and let's say you have 5 to 7 different colors for each of those, and you're spending $33 a day, and you do a standard catch-all, and you've got, I don't know, would that make you have like 40 or 50 products inside your merchant center? Your budget's going to get distributed very, very oddly because it's very low, and you have so many different product type variations, right? So for instance, what I mean by that is when someone looks up an LA logo hat, you're only going to have one placement because it's all going to be inside one campaign. So only one pops up at a time. So your spend is going to be distributed weirdly. And again, just how ad groups and campaigns work, where it's only going to be, Google is going to be mainly favoring what gets searched the most. So if more people are looking for hats, that's where all your spend is going to go. You're going to be wasting all that time setting up, the stuff for the sweatshirts and the shorts, etc. So if that is the case for you, I would recommend having one that is like hats only, standard shopping, hats only, etc. Doing another one for shorts only, just so you can segment it like that. And then again, for the hats, once you move on and you go into your ad group, you would say, hey, we're going to exclude every product besides hats. So if this is where you're at, you have this all figured out and what makes sense for your business, go ahead and click create campaign. But I am not going to do that, but I'm going to show you in my client's account exactly what happens after you click create campaign. All right, so now once you have made that campaign, you're gonna go ahead and go down to your ad groups, which is the one that we just made, and it's gonna throw everything into one ad group. So once you see this, it's just gonna say ad group, or it's just gonna say product. I've changed the name of mine for what we're advertising for, and you're gonna click on it, and it's gonna show and bring up your product groups. Of course, you can just switch it here, but I like to click on it. And so what it's gonna standardly show, it's gonna show all products. So for this one campaign, we decided that we wanted to advertise for just one single product. So what I did here is I went and clicked on this pencil. I'm not going to bring it up because that would show all of my clients' product IDs, which of course I could blur, but you're going to understand once you click on this pencil, it's going to show you how you want to set it up. So you're going to choose product ID. And remember what I told you earlier about this product ID here. So if this is the product that you want to advertise for, just go ahead and copy, paste that, put it in the product ID, and then once you click enter, you'll have that product here. And then you're gonna go ahead on everything else, which is gonna be every product in your merchant center. You're just gonna go ahead and click this button here, and you're gonna click exclude. So now, for my sake, we are only advertising for this one product that is green. But for you, again, if you have your products separated by category, like hats, hoodies, shorts, and you're gonna be just doing hats for this, then make sure that you add and select all of the product IDs for all the hats, and you have them in here accordingly. So set that up how you'd like, but that is exactly how you set up a standard shopping campaign. So thankfully, it is not way too much work, but there is a pro and con to everything, of course. So you're thinking, oh yes, what a major sigh of relief. This is an easier campaign. I can get around this, right? Yes and no. So the main difference, obviously, besides the fact that these, your ads are going to be shown in the shopping feed, but you also may have noticed that you don't have any keywords. So it is very, very important that you make sure that you are optimizing your product description and your product title inside your merchant center, because that is how Google finds you searches and how it decides when to show your products. Okay, so the way that you name your products, as descriptive as you are, is going to make the most of an impact, right? So let's say that if you're advertising for one of those LA logo hoodies, and let's say that in your product description, it says 100% polyester pullover. So then if someone goes and Googles 100% polyester pullover, then your product will come up in that shopping feed. So if you are selling a product and let's say it's like some kind of golfing accessory, and you put -golf accessory, anytime someone Googles golf accessory, you're going to come up. So if you don't want to be that broad and you're like, hey, we don't want to come up for golf accessories, we just want to come up when someone looks up golf club or golf bag, then you want to make sure that you make that really clear, because anything that you add in your title or description is going to influence how and when Google shows your ads based on people's search. So you have to be really careful with that. But it is always standard practice to make sure that your titles and your descriptions are very thought out. They're very thorough. They're very descriptive, because again, you want to use this leverage to help you, right? You don't want to shoot yourself in the foot and just have, hey, golf bag. That's lame. You want to have more information about it. What's the size? What's the color? What's it for? What's the name of the company? All that stuff is going to help Google find you more shoppers. But just be careful of how you name it, because it's going to help you find more shoppers. So that can be a good and a bad thing. So once you have that set up, I'm going to show you kind of the same thing that we did for the search campaign, but the biggest one here, I'm not going to go beat the bush and go back into showing you the locations and everything in here, because quite frankly, they don't want us to when you're in an ad group. So you'll have to branch out and just do it as a campaign as a whole if you want to look at those audiences or those locations. But the biggest thing that we're going to do here is we're going to go back into the search themes, because sometimes Google will be all over the place. I remember I was advertising when we were setting up a shopping campaign for an all natural protein bar several months ago. Some of the search terms that were coming up for just this standard shopping campaign is it was like an at-home like casino thing, and I was like, why are we getting those? So I figured that was a fluke. I made that like an exact match negative, and we kept getting more, like 777 Lucky's casino machine. I'm like, what? This is an all natural protein bar. So I don't know what happened in Google's algorithm, but you want to make sure that you're really, really careful with this. So if you're getting an unrelated search of a lot of like casino related stuff, for an example, and you're selling like a golf bag, then you want to make sure that you scroll down and kind of do the same thing as we did with the search. You're going to want to go to search keywords, and the only thing you can do here is actually add those negatives. So it's perfect. Again, there's no keywords here, but it's just negative keywords. So then you just want to add casino as a negative, kind of follow the exact same thing that we did with the search campaign. But again, that's just going to be the main thing you're going to have to look after. And especially the first week or 2 weeks, and depending how much you're spending is going to influence how many clicks you're getting and how many searches. So you just really want to be on top of that, because it can be really, really easy to spend a lot of money really quickly on unrelated stuff. So again, just like the search campaign, be really strict and really serious about your negative search terms, especially for e-commerce, because you're selling at a nationwide level, and here you don't have any keyword influence. So you can spend money really quick. So again, just be a real stickler on that. So since I mentioned that the standard shopping and the standard search campaign kind of have a lot of similarities when it comes to in terms of actually making optimizations, I do want to share one big industry secret. So this might be a little advanced for most of you, but I kind of wanted to explain why some of you may have noticed that there was actually only one product inside this ad group. So one of the very strategic tricks that you can do inside of a standard shopping campaign is, let's bring it back to the example where you have multiple different colors of those LA logo hats, right? Let's say you got red, blue, green, and white, okay? And you have all those in the same ad group, right? So when someone types in LA logo hat, or let's just assume that's what they search up, then Google's gonna pick one of the ones to show them, right? You can only have one placement per campaign. So then when someone types in LA logo hat and you have those 4 different colors inside that one ad group, Google is just gonna kind of pick one, or if there's one that's obviously being more favored and people are buying the red one more and your cost is better, then Google about 75% of the time, or maybe 50%, might show that red one more than the white one that's not getting many sales or has a high cost per conversion. But remember, Google is unique, and it's not like Meta, or TikTok, right? Where you pay per the eyeball. So Google, you pay cost per click. Google charges you when someone clicks. Meta and TikTok charge you when someone sees it, right? It's by impression based. So you can leverage that. So let's say you're going all in on the hat. Let's say you've done your testing. You're like, hey, the hats are way more profitable. The ads are crushing compared to the hoodie, and the shorts, we're going to focus in on the hats. You can make 4 different standard shopping campaigns and do exactly what I have here in this ad group setup, where I have everything else removed besides this one product. And you'll copy and paste that. Remember to change the naming convention to help you remember, but you can do that for each color. So boom, make this for the red hat, the green hat, the blue hat, and the white hat. So now when someone types in LA logo hat, you now will show up 4 different times in this exact same product feed here, because if you have them all in one ad group in one campaign, you're only going to show up once, and Google is just going to kind of pick which one they think is the best. But if you have 4 separate campaigns competing for LA logo hat, even though they're just different variations, but again, if someone types in LA logo hat, it's still going to trigger all 4 hat colors because they're still an LA logo hat. They're just different colors. So that is a way for you to dominate the shopping feed and show up multiple times in the same search, to kind of show that you guys are the top dogs. Your company's popping up more than once. So see, all these guys are up here once, but if you're able to show up 4 times right here out of the 8, it's clear to people like, wow, okay, these guys dominate. These guys are the best. These guys, like, you're dominating a feed. And kind of like I mentioned with the site links for those search campaigns, you want to dominate the feed. You want to have as much digital real estate, because Google only charges you when someone clicks. So basically you're having 4 different tries to compete and enter that same auction to win that client, or I'm sorry, to win that click. So these guys here, they all put in their money and they're all trying once. But if you did this right, you could have 4 opportunities in this same exact shopping feed. And again, people love, the bigger brands. And when you are able to pop up 4 times out of a selection of 8, you look like you're dominating, and you can be. So that's just a quick industry secret I wanted to share. But then in terms of the actual optimizations, it's going to be a lot of moving stuff around. Okay, if the red hat's dominating, then move it out to its own, let the other 3 products have their try, just like with the ad groups, and then watching those keywords, or I'm sorry, watching those search themes and making sure that you're making those negative, as well as looking at locations and audience, the age, the gender, kind of what we talked about previously. So congratulations, you have made it past chapter 2 in this video. I know this one was a little bit shorter, a little bit more sweeter, and a little bit more straight to the punch than the search campaign, but that's okay, and that's totally normal because a standard shopping, as you saw, is easier to set up and is quicker and has less legwork than a standard search campaign. But I'm really glad that we spent all the time necessary on that standard search because that is the gold standard of Google. That was the original campaign. When you talk to someone about Google Ads, they're typically thinking search. Not a lot of people nowadays are thinking about shopping or YouTube, but the gold standard of Google is search. So I'm glad that we were able to get that one covered. And I started with that one because it sets the foundation. As you saw, once you have that core down, it helped you understand and learn more about the shopping. It helped you kind of learn and understand more about the standard shopping. And then we were kind of able to skip some of the optimizations and simple steps because we already learned that about the search campaign. So that's why I started with that one. As you could tell, this one was a little bit shorter, but now we are going to be moving on to chapter 3, which is going to be setting up your video campaign. So again, if you tied all this together and did the search, the shopping, the video, and even added display in there, you would have a Performance Max campaign. But I'm not here to teach you how to cap your Google Ads account and how to walk around with training wheels or a crutch. Because again, most people, they start with the Performance Max campaign and it hinders everything because it just doesn't show you very much data. And I'll show you that shortly, but we're bringing down the essence. Right now it's 2025 and the foundationals and the expertise have never been more crucial in the success for Google Ads account, especially with AI being so popular and all these companies like Google leveraging their AI and they're showing you less data and they're trying to take more control for themselves. But you will have more success scaling and dominating in Google Ads if you know these foundations and you know how to scale these foundational campaigns and use PMax as a supplement and not a crutch. So we're going to be going into creating a video campaign. So let's get started. All right, so again, just like the other campaigns, we're going to go to create, or again, you can do it in the actual campaign area, but I like to go here. We're going to go for website traffic. Remember, for your e-commerce company, now that I'm back on my test account, don't worry about this. This should say purchases, or if you don't have anything set up, again, that's a topic for another video. We're just going to skip past that, and we're going to go right into video. Asks us this again. We don't need, that's okay. Just go ahead and click continue. All right, so once you're in here, so one thing I did want to say is I saw this, and just to let you know, demand gen and video campaigns are going to kind of merge, I believe, as of April 1st of 2025. So right now it's March 12th, so we are a little bit until then. So don't worry about this. Continue the same as you would. They're going to look very, very similar, but what demand gen is it's just a mixture between video and display to, generate demand, right? Which is kind of what we're doing anyways, because shopping and search campaigns are based off of intent, right? So those are more bottom of funnel when someone actually searches for your product or service. But now, since we're going to be going into video, we're going to be showing people our ads who weren't necessarily looking or Googling directly for that. So we have now gone from bottom of funnel to middle/top of funnel. So a demand gen was just basically that. It was a combination between display and video. And as of April 1st, or I believe the first 2 weeks of April at least, they haven't really disclosed when, but I do know it's going to come out in April. They are going to be actually replacing or merging these. So don't worry. It's all relatively the same thing. So what's going to happen next in a demand gen is that it's going to add images also. So it's basically going to be a Performance Max campaign without search, without Gmail, without Discover, and without Maps. So it's just going to be blending basically display and video together. But for this sake, and because this is not out yet, we're just going to make a video campaign. But again, it's going to relatively be the exact same thing, but instead it's going to have static placements instead of, primarily video. It's going to be shown elsewhere, but you get the point. So again, if we're going to be advertising for this product, let's just go ahead and make this. So this campaign we're going to do is just going to all be about the ice bath itself, right? Again, if you wanted to make this campaign and you want to have different ad groups, for one ad group being the ice bath, one being the sauna heater, one being the tropic sauna, go ahead. But for this, remember, we're just going to be doing the ice bath, and I'm just going to show you one example to save time. So let's do video ice bath only. And for now, we'll leave that until we come up with something else. Actually, I will go for clicks just to show the campaign objective again. So that should be all we need for now, just so we know. Do we want to add a product feed? If you watch a YouTube video and you see an ad for a product, it will show almost like what that Google Ads shopping feed looks like, but right under the video. So we'll go ahead and add that just because right now this is our first video campaign. For most of you, again, you're in a fresh Google Ads account. We do want to test some more things at the start because this will be an easy thing to turn off if it's not working, but I would rather start that now than not. And it's a very easy thing to supplement. And if someone is in the buying mindset, it makes it really easy for them to see the price, click on it exactly, and check out compared to going to your landing page, searching, but this will bring them right to it, and it shows the price, which is a big one. So if someone realizes that this is in their price range, they go, oh, wow, this is affordable, or this is a deal. It can make them make that action compared to not if you didn't have that and they don't see the price and they just see what you have. So again, you're gonna have to click on your Merchant Center account here because that's how that's gonna be attached, just like the shopping campaign. So we're gonna move past it. Again, we're gonna click on clicks because this account's brand new and has no data. We're gonna put that budget to 111 a day because remember, for this role play example of this ice bath company, we are spending $10,000 a month, which is $333 split between 3 campaigns. All right, so as we scroll down, you've seen a handful of this stuff before already, devices, ad schedule, and whatnot. And one thing I did notice here is that they almost want to hide location, right? So when they have a lot of these little things, just like in these little tabs, it can make it really easy just to read it and skip it. But this is a big one, and they even make you click enable it, which is beyond me. So they're trying to hide that. So you had to click on 2 buttons to make sure that you're not going to be advertising to every country in the world. How ridiculous. So make sure that you go to enter another location. Remember, we're advertising in the US, so do what I told you. Exclude the certain countries that I told you. You guys remember, you're not rookies to this anymore. Make sure it's in English, etc. And then devices. So the only device that I recommend that you turn off is going to be TV screens. So unless you are like Budweiser or if you're Coca-Cola, then yes, leave it on. But right now, your e-commerce product, you want people to buy it. You don't want people to know about it, but you have a call to action, which is shop now or buy now. And if someone's on a TV, they can't make that purchase. So you always want to be advertising on a place where someone can actually make that purchase. So go ahead and click set specific targeting for devices and make sure that you remove TV screens. You don't have to worry about operating systems unless you really want to target only iPhone users, but there's a large percentage of people who use Android. Same thing with device model, not something I'd really get into unless you're super, super, super worried about it. But for an ice bath example, I don't know if it matters what kind of phone someone has. So again, the ad schedule all day, yada, yada, the Google video partners, make sure this is like them trying to add more search partners, but video partners, no, we do not want that. So I am going to click on go to ad group 1, bring it over here. So again, we're going to be advertising only for the ice bath here. So let's just start with just ice bath only. One thing actually we could put up here in our naming convention is going to be USA, just for sake, in case we are going to ever expand, right? This is telling me that I can't do this because I didn't attach my merchant center, but again, I'm in my test account. Let's move forward with this. So if you remember way back to in the search campaign demonstration, we saw something that was called audience segments. And I mentioned how that was in like performance max campaigns and more campaigns that are not bottom of funnel anymore, not like the shopping, not like the search, but they're for the middle and top of funnel, where it's going to be showing you like what types of demographics, interests, activities, behaviors, etc. of these buyers you want to target. Because again, if we're going to be showing up on YouTube ads, we're not going based off of keywords. No one's just typing in ice bath and then our video is coming up, right? We are ads, but we're going to be showing in stream. So, the skippable ads before a video, we're going to be showing up on the right column. And then once our ad is shown, we're also going to be in that product feed, since we selected that, below the video. So click on audience here because we're going to be influencing people now. Again, this is why they're switching it to demand generation, because it is what this is. We're going up in the funnel. So let's go ahead and create some audiences here. So for this sake, I am going to create a catch-all audience, kind of like I've done with like a lot of these ad groups and stuff, just for demonstration's sake. But I always tell you guys how to do it properly and how to do it, the not lazy way. But if I went through every single ad group, made it the way I would for a real account, and made all those ads, under each one, we would be here for longer than a couple hours. It'd be 10 hours. So no need. Audience name, I'm going to name this Ice Bath Catch-all. Again, do this how you would like, what's going to make the most sense for you. But right now we're creating an audience. So we're trying to tell Google what data, what lookalikes, what interest and detailed demographics, etc. Who do we want to exclude? Like, who are we going to target? Because now we're doing more of a side display view and more of an interruption-based advertising compared to the standard search like we've talked about. So let's go ahead and do this segment here. So these are more particular. So you see how there's a couple sections here where it's people with any of these interests or purchase intentions, or people who have searched any of these terms. So we can go for people who have searched an ice bath. I think we would probably have more luck doing this than we would people who have interest or purchase intentions. We can add both. You can do both. I'm going to say ice bath. I'm going to say portable ice bath. Again, because we know us as human beings and as the people, behind the products, we know that the ice baths and the cold plunges are the same thing. And now someone's not looking for it. So we don't have to give them exactly what they looked for because they didn't look for anything, right? So we're going to add cold plunge. We're going to add stuff like that. You can add more of these if you feel necessary, but these are the ones that I'm going to add. I'm going to name this ice bath / cold plunge related searches. All right, so go ahead and save that. That's in here. Now you're more than welcome to add another one too, where if you were like, hey, I want to do any interests, people who are interested in this type of stuff, more than welcome to do that. But one of the best ones that I like to do, and this is a huge nugget, because you can set these custom audience segments up in a Performance Max campaign too. The setup is the exact same, but what I like to do is for people who have been on other websites. So again, this is our product, but let's pretend that it's not, or let's just even go to, let's just actually just type in the root. Let's just go to cold plunge. People who are in here, let's see, boom. Okay, that's an expensive one. So let's go to the pod company. If we are NeuroCover or NeuRecover, this is a big competitor of ours. Holy smokes, these pages look almost identical. Well, welcome to eCommerce. Anyway, so this is a big competitor of ours. So we're just gonna go to just their whole thing, because as you can see, they're named the pod company. Wow, these websites look so similar. Yeah, that's ecom for you. Anyways, we're going to grab this URL and we're going to put it right here. So anyone who's ever been on this website, we can now be targeting, because again, we are interruption based. We're showing people without them asking. So what I would do is I would find a handful of competitors like this. Don't do the ones that are 10,000 bucks. If you're selling one that's $100, find ones that are more similar. So see, these cold plunges are the more expensive ones, but the portable was the real word that sold it here, because that means cheaper. It's not a home installation, right? So, Jesus, make life easy. Like, this is another one I would add in here. I know I'm clicking on a lot of people's Google ads, and I'm sorry, but my click's probably only a couple bucks, so don't worry about that. Again, I would be adding these, add a lot of competitors, a lot of other stuff too. And if you really want to get to a point where you're going even more broad, then I would add anything like health and wellness related, even sauna. You can make one for saunas in the future, but for now, remember, we want to be hyper focused and we really want to focus on just ours. So we want anyone who's had any interest in looking at any of these before. So feel free to add these. You can also do apps. For cold plunge, it might be harder, but one that I like to do, so I have a lot of weight loss injection clinic clients, and I like to do people who have MyFitnessPal. It's a really popular app. I would say it's probably the most popular app for calorie counting. And if someone is counting calories, that shows me that they have a fitness goal or they're trying to lose weight. I guess people could be using MyFitnessPal if they want to gain weight or if they're trying to bulk. But for the most part, I feel like the demographic we're going after, which is targeting middle-aged women, that they're probably wanting to lose weight. So this shows me that they have an interest in some kind of fitness goal or reducing their physical size. So this would be a good one. But for the cold plunge example, this might not be great. I don't know if there's any like cold plunge, whatever. But if you wanted to broaden up again in the future after you're scaling this campaign and you want to open it up to more audiences after you feel like you've kind of tapped or you have a high ROAS in this more niche targeting, then you can open it up, because this is a health and wellness app. This shows that people take pride in their appearance, and a lot of benefits of the cold plunge. If people do their research, or if you label your ads correctly, they are going to see that this is for faster recovery. They're probably going to the gym. It's for all this stuff too. And all this stuff, even weight loss, is right here, right? So you can get creative with it if you want, but again, we would focus on the main things here. to really focus on that audience as we're just starting out before we start expanding. So I would just name this, let's say, I would say competitor site visitors. That's what I would name this one. We'll get rid of this, but you would have more here. You get that, but let's just name this one in here. So again, everything we add in here into this audience, it's going to include all of these things, right? So this is just you're showing Google and you're influencing on who you'd want to actually see your ad. So if you're a new store or anything like that, you're not going to have any data, but this is like where you would like add customer data. So like all like site visitors and stuff, you have to have at least 1,000 in here. So for us, we're not going to do any retargeting on this necessarily. So don't worry about that. Video campaigns, demand gen, and performance max will actually retarget automatically for you. So that means that when someone visits your site and they go do something else, like let's say they watch YouTube a couple hours later, there's a chance that your ads will pop up to that person to kind of influence them to bring them back. But again, if you don't have any customer data, if you're a new store, you don't have over 1,000 visitors, then you're not going to have this information available. And you would just be able to add it as long as you have Google Analytics connected. So let's keep going here. So a lookalike segment. This isn't really something that I would worry about. You would already have to have a list of people. So kind of like also if you know anything about meta ads, if you have site visitors, like if you have your 1,000 site visitors, you can make a lookalike audience. So similar people, right? So let's say if the more people who have gone to our new recover page is like a lot of middle-aged men in California, then it's going to target more people like that. So it's going to be a lookalike audience. But again, we're not using any of our website data, so don't worry about that. Now, the next one, you probably heard me say this before already, but the interest in detailed demographics. So this is a lot of things, life events, kind of everything I mentioned here, a lot of segments. So what I would do here is instead of trying to guess, you're more than welcome to just browse. Searching might be a little harder because if you browse here, it's going to cover everything. So I would look for our example, I would try and find someone who's maybe beauty and personal care. This can really open up things, especially if we're targeting women too, because that can mean a lot of things. But if we decided to actually limit who we were going to target and we were just targeting men, then this would be good. But just because that beauty and personal care is an industry dominated by women, as you can see on the right here, the top related audience segments are face makeup, bath and body products, lip makeup, skin and nail care, Valentine's Day. That's obviously women related stuff. But if we were just targeting men, that could be a good one. But for now, we're going to avoid that one. Let's go to not dating services, not this, home and garden. And not really. That would be kind of a stretch. And remember what I told you at the start, we want to be super focused in. Sports and fitness is going to be our best one. And you can always bring these down and see more in here. But I'm going to say outdoor rec equipment. That might even be a stretch because yeah, it's going to be like a lot of hiking, a lot of fishing. But I would honestly go for something like right in here. Okay, so fitness products and services, that kind of is a stretch, but we're gonna go for it. Life events. Home renovation could actually be a good one. I know that home renovation is going to be more of those really big permanent saunas or cold plunges, but that doesn't necessarily have to be this because this is portable. This is going to be in someone's backyard who recently renovated. Let's just add it as a whole. Home renovation, job change, marriage, moving. Moving can be okay. Someone's going to be moving soon. They're like, oh, now we have a backyard and now we have a patio. Now I have the opportunity to get this. Again, that might be kind of a stretch, but you can always make adjustments to this audience segment once you see the data and you see what kind of people are actually making purchases. So detailed demographics, this is totally up to you and how you want to do it. And then affinity is just kind of like catch-all stuff. So beauty wellness, again, might be a stretch because it's primarily dominated by women. Sports and fitness, you go ahead and add again. But as you see, those are all the ones that I would add. As you can see, there's a lot of searches, so it is very broad. That's why it helps a lot if you already have more niche targeting in. Like if you're already like, hey, in this campaign, we're only going to be targeting men aged 20 to 45. All that stuff is going to help narrow these in because these are like very broad catch-all just interests, right? So I go to the gym. I have a gym subscription. This probably shows that I'm interested in fitness. So I'm probably in here somewhere, right? So you want to make sure that you're doing any of that specific stuff. So if you have any kind of like remarketing that you want to make sure that you're excluding, go ahead and do that anyways. But like I said, the PMAX campaign is probably going to retarget for you a little bit anyways. But if you have a new store, new site, don't worry about it. Let's say that if we're selling like, one of those ice baths that you would actually physically build and put into your house. That's what we saw in the shopping feed. What are those 10 grand, 5 grand? Then you might just remove part of this wealth category here and maybe move it from the top 10 to the 30% wealth. So it doesn't let you advertise directly to people that are just lower. It has to be a range, right? So that's a category that you might want to remove because you can probably assume that people who are making less than 50% of people in the country on an average are probably not going to be putting a $5,000 to $10,000 ice bath in their house. So again, totally up to you. But if you have a $99 product, you know, more people than not can afford that. So for more high ticket, that's something to worry about. This might not mean as much for our ice bath scenario. Again, the age, I would probably honestly change this from 25 because people who are under that are likely living at home or they're in school. They don't have the water or the electricity, or they don't have the space to put in an ice bath. They're going to use it at their gym, right? Maybe put a maximum here of 64. However you want to do it, it's going to matter on your product or service. But that's the information I wanted to give you. I'll just save this just in case it doesn't let me move on if I don't. So that's our audience. And then optimized targeting. This is just Google's going to find people beyond our selected audience. You can do this. Everyone's been doing this lately. Meta and TikTok, they have these like Advantage Plus audience or optimized targeting, and we really just don't need more, right? If you look at all of our things, it showed 30 billion total interest in searches. We know what we want here. We've shown site visitors. I'm sure these websites that we showed, they get tens of thousands of searches a month. And if we're only spending $111 a day on this campaign, we don't need to be like, hey, can you find us more people? There's more than enough people in here. The number of people inside this audience is probably very large. So let's skip that. We want to have more control on who we're actually targeting. Again, like I mentioned with the search campaign, this is if you have any specific UTM parameters where you want to look in your Google Analytics and see the exact work and proof of how many people have clicked on these YouTube video ads. So go ahead and go to ad one. I'm going to click it up here. So these are pretty straightforward. Because what we clicked earlier, we're going to have videos and product ads, but there are multiple ways to do this. So there's several different types of video ads, and I want to see if it even has it in here. Not quite. It doesn't have a very good description, but basically what this means here is, so if you just have image and product ads, then you're just going to be below a video in the product shopping feed, and then you're just going to be on the right. So if you're looking at a video here on this right side where it has those recommended videos, above that is where you're going to have your ads. Okay, so if you don't have any videos, you're not going to come up as an in-stream skippable video before a video, right? That's not where your ad's going to be placed if you don't have video. So if you just want to show up in the feed under a video, boom, perfect. No preview. Well, if we had our merchant center connected, it would show me a preview. So I apologize for that, but take my word on where it's for. The same thing with the video and product. As you can see, it'd be right here in someone's feed. And then they also have the in-stream skippable, which is before the video. And then image and product's going to be under and to the right. So we got that. Don't need to go there anymore. This is where that would be down here, but in this, whatever you want, I'm going to do video plus product plus image. So this is just going to show that we're everywhere. Okay. So for this, we opted in at the start to add our merchant center account, do shopping. We're going to add video and images. So again, we didn't actually add our merchant center here just because this is an example, but you get it. So this is a catch-all. We're everywhere. So remember our ice baths, we're going to be selling them right here. That's the final URL. That's where people are going to be going. And then what you're going to do here is you're just going to be adding actual media, right? So everything you're going to be adding is going to be right here. So in order to actually add these, so you're going to see my asset library. So this is just for my personal account when I've ran YouTube ads before in the past. Any kind of video that you want to run an ad for has to be uploaded into YouTube. So you can't just click add and you can't just, download it and make it into like your asset library like you would like for an image, because, depending on your video, it's going to be really, they're going to be really heavy in terms of space. So every video that you do an ad for has to be uploaded onto YouTube. So once you have that done, you have that video uploaded, you can just very easily grab the URL. Any kind of video, just grab the URL right here, put it right here. That's going to give you those. You can do up to 5 videos. So again, if you have different products and different services, this is a nice way to kind of keep it niche. You can also even do 1 video per ad and have multiple ads here under this one ad group if you want just to test out specific videos and see which one Google likes the most compared to just letting them optimize and rotate freely. But you could have them even broken down even into their own ad groups if you really wanted to test. But again, you add the videos here. You add your business logo here. This one's a little tricky right here. This is actually one of the only Google recommendations that I actually like. And it's going to be making vertical and square versions of your videos. But you have to be careful because what this means is now they're going to be showing you in the actual YouTube Shorts spot, right? So if you just have a regular long form rectangle video, obviously your video is only going to fit in streamable if someone's watching a full video. But if you allow them to make shorter versions, and make them vertical, that just means that, hey, we're gonna be putting these in the YouTube Shorts feed. So if your video wouldn't make sense if it was chopped down like this, because everything is on the outside and all comes together, whatever, then don't let them do that. But make sure that if you're gonna be running ads that are like the same size as like an Instagram reel or a Facebook reel or a TikTok video, right? Like that 1080 by 1080 pixel video, then you wanna make sure that you're running an ad group just for that. And I would name the naming convention. I would make it say Shorts, and then I would choose no and no, but I would only be adding videos that fit that size, right? So if I was on my YouTube channel, I went to my Shorts, I would do the same thing here and copy the same URL from my YouTube Shorts. So I like how they've written this out and make this really, really clear. So again, if you're going to be running Shorts, just make sure you have all that set in stone, and that's what you want to do. So anyways, going down, this is kind of just how we set up like a search campaign. You're just going to have the headlines right here under the video. So you can always just name it the title of the video, but also when it comes to actually making a YouTube video itself, that's kind of different. But if you're just uploading videos that you're going to be using for the ads, then you can just name them whatever, and then you can change it here. Like for instance, if you're making an actual YouTube video that you're going to turn into an ad, your YouTube title is probably going to be different than you'd want it to be in an actual call to action ad where someone clicks it, and when they click this ad, they're not going to watch, you know, the video unless it's a full video. But you're going to want them to make a purchase, right? Because now you're making a video for your product and you're advertising, right? So change this depending on what you want to do, whatever. I'm going to let you guys deal with that yourself. But like, let's say, let's just go ahead and add this. This might even be a little too long. Let's go ahead and add, yeah, way too long. Okay. Let's say goodbye to muscle soreness. Say goodbye to muscle soreness, for example. Okay, have more of these, talk about the cold plunge, etc. We've kind of talked about this. Long headlines, these are like in the bridge between a headline and description, so it's exactly what you think. So for here, we could actually add this. Let's do elevate your recovery with the pod. I think we already tested this last time. This is actually way too long, but let's just add this. Something in there, right? Elevate whatever with the pod. I know this isn't like a perfect example, but you get it. We talked about this with the search campaign. Make good copy. Search through here to find good copy. You want to have your call to action in here. Be straight to the point. Decide if you want to talk about your offer or expertise. All that. Make sure description is going to go the same way. That's going to be right here. So if you were going to add something like this is where that would show. So make it short and sweet. You're a marketer. If you're not, it's time to be a marketer, because that's what Google Ads is ad copy is just a way of communicating to someone. So you want to make sure that communication is effective. So do more research on ad copy, use the ChatGPT, use your existing product landing pages and find all that information. A lot of little word things you can tell that we've, found in here all over the place. So just be a little creative, but we've gone through this before. Call to action, you don't need it to be automated. If you're making a sale, it's not necessarily about learn more, but you probably want people to buy now. If you have like an array of things, like let's say you've got multiple different sizes and types of cold plunges, I believe shop now is here. Yeah, see more or shop now is a good one. Buy now is a little aggressive. If people click it, they might be afraid they're just going to go right to the checkout. But shop now is kind of like more like, oh, shop around, like take a peek. I like to use shop now compared to buy now. Business name, we enter that, of course. And site links are exactly what we saw them inside a, let's just do this. Let's just add one of these. See if it'll show you right here. Well, maybe not, but it'll show you right here where that is at. So it's right under here. So when you have this in-stream skippable video, it just kind of brings up more. Again, we talked about that for the search campaign. We showed you how that just takes up more digital real estate, and we are always fans of taking up more digital real estate. So a good thing to add on these site links would be more like check out our other products, or shop all of our wellness products, or shop all of our cold plunges, contact us, blog about us, how it works, right? You want to use these site links to pump up and make your product and your service more juicy. So add stuff that's going to influence them to look into other options instead of buying now, right? Because if they wanted to buy or shop this product, they would click right here on shop now, look around, but use this as an opportunity to almost push someone and encourage them, right? So like discover the benefits. If you have a page on your website about all the benefits, which these guys don't because they suck, they should have one about all the benefits. If you have a specific page with doctor research, blogs, all these great things on it, then include that, because when someone sees this and if they're not fully convinced and they're not ready to make this big purchase now, you want to use things again that are going to kind of influence that person. So see all the benefits, see what others have to say, blogs, shop all of our wellness products, all that stuff again is going to be good for the site links. We've gone through that enough. This display URL is the same. This is just adds after your main URL just to kind of pump that up, kind of show more about it. You can do whatever you want here. For the YouTube one, it's not going to be nearly as important because no one is seeing a direct, no one's seeing a display URL here. So again, you can, because again, in the future, Google Ads is actually going to use this display URL to help them with their targeting. So always make sure you add little stuff like that. I'm not going to add this other part. No, actually I will, just in case. And then again, this is for UTM parameters. So let's go ahead and go and review. Yeah, okay, this isn't going to let me do anything because I didn't set up my merchant center, didn't add any videos, but you overall understand. All right, so I ran YouTube video ads for a very short time when I was just starting my channel to see if it would be worth it for me to get more video views and see how much that would help my channel, right? Well, I very quickly realized that it was actually hurting my existing videos because people were coming from ads and the retention time and the view rate, the view percentage of the video from this paid traffic was really low. So it was actually harming my video because now my average retention and average watch time was going really far down. So this isn't something that I stuck with, but again, that was me advertising for my YouTube video. So for e-commerce with the call to action, this is a lot different, but I wanted just to bring this up just because it's going to be simple here. So besides everything else that I've told you guys about optimizing for, you know, these types of campaigns, again, there's going to be locations, there's going to be ad schedule, all that little stuff. But because we're going up from the bottom to more the middle and top of funnel, you are going to have less say in what happens. So as you see here, if you go to audiences, right, you are still able to remove everything, kind of like we talked about earlier. And that's what's good about these campaigns compared to a Performance Max, which I'll show you momentarily. But I'm not going to, you know, go back into all this because we've gone over it multiple times. But the biggest thing I want to show you here is, like, let's say that we are in our ad groups, right? So I use a different video for each ad group because each video was very, very different. So I did not want to put these different types of videos, one about auto-applied recommendations, one about a Google ad account audit, and one about more of like a case study video for a weight loss injection clinic in town. I didn't want those all to be under the same ad group because remember when we were making that last ad group for this video campaign, we were able to choose 5 headlines and descriptions and we were able to put all those videos in there. I wouldn't want someone to see anything related to watching this video about auto-applied recommendations if it showed up, you know, if it optimized and did it shuffling about one of my videos for my Google Ads audit. Because I wasn't selling a product, I didn't have any call to action, I wanted to just advertise the video. So again, if you're going to be advertising directly, which is what you guys are for your e-commerce products, you're going to want to be looking at, one, how much is the actual cost per view. That's basically your definition of like a cost per click, but in the video form, how much is it costing you for someone to actually view this? But the biggest things are going to go down into conversion rate. When someone clicked on that ad, did they convert? What did they buy? How much was their average order value, etc. But if you go to modify columns here, this is when I like to just do everything, right? So if I'm going to go to conversions, you want to look at everything, right? So of course we have conversions already covered, but let's say you're not getting any conversions, or kind of how, you know, once we make a campaign in this video so far, I really like to talk about the main optimizations. So in terms of actually scaling and making your video campaign better, you know, to keep being able to scale, put more money into it and get more profit from it, and just overall not have any content that goes stagnant and goes dry. But again, you always want to be refreshing content for all the reasons. But in here, there are a lot of other things to look at. So let's see, if we go to YouTube earned actions, we don't need anything like that. Reach metrics are fine, but what we really want to go for is, I believe, all of them. But for these, there's going to be different metrics that you're going to want to actually look into, right? Because of course, your goal is not just awareness, it's not just video views, but you're actually trying to sell a product. So when scaling this, it's going to be really important to look at, okay, what videos got the most clicks, right? How many people watch this video and what's the click-through rate? Out of the people that watched the video, what percent of those people saw that ad and actually clicked on our website and visited our website, etc., right? So if you're able to see that one video has a much higher click-through rate than another video, then you really need to look at those videos and watch them both and really try to understand, okay, why would someone click on this video more or go to our website from this video compared to seeing this video? And you have to look at everything. It could be the people in the video, if people are smiling, if there's more people, if there's no people, if it showed the product right away, if it had a funny hook, if this one had a better hook, etc. So This kind of stuff comes into more of a different type of marketing now because we're doing video, we're doing content, and we're doing almost interruption-based marketing. This is going to kind of stray away from like the traditional Google Ads search as we know in terms of optimizations, but now you're going to kind of be optimizing and testing creatives, which are going to be your ad videos, almost like you would if you're managing ads for TikTok or for Facebook, because you're going to be going for, okay, why did people click on this ad more compared to this ad? Why is the percentage, et cetera, here higher? Why are more people converting from this ad? That's kind of a whole topic again for another video, but I want to show you just the difference in columns that we have here for when you're actually looking at the metrics from your ads. So look at everything in here, use all this information to see, okay, how long did people watch this video for? Why did people watch this video twice as long as they watched this video? And really understand those elements of those creatives and use that to make better content. So if there's one video with dominating metrics, then study it and learn how and try and replicate it and try and beat it, etc. So I'm not going to beat that to death, but besides all the other tabs you look through in terms of optimizing for the other campaigns, you can share a lot of those here. But the biggest thing is going to be looking at your actual viewer metrics now, because again, you have watch time, you have cost per view. So you have a lot of different metrics here that aren't in anywhere else. So you want to take as much advantage of those as you can to help you make better creatives and overall sell more products. So congratulations, you have passed chapter 3, which is the main final chapter. In this video so far, we have gone through setting up and optimizing search campaign, standard shopping, and now a video campaign. So if you think you have learned everything here, then congratulations, you made it this far. I really hope I was able to teach you something, but I do want to talk about Performance Max campaign, and I want to share some more industry secrets. So we are going to leave the Google Ads view now, and we're going to be going back to just me. So now that we have finished going through all those campaigns, the setup, the optimization, some industry secrets, I know I've thrown a lot of shade at the Performance Max campaigns, and I'm going to explain why. That foundations of your account and expertise and data are your best friends, and a Performance Max campaign doesn't show that. And I'm going to share with you why it can hinder an account, especially, for most of you guys watching this video. I anticipate that you are newer to Google Ads. Obviously, this is a beginner tutorial video. So I want to share, to start out with, a lot of people use Performance Max campaigns because it's a catch-all. It's a lot easier. It does, if you do a shopping Performance Max campaign, it's going to do shopping feed, search, display, YouTube. It's really easy. It's really nice. And as you can see in this client account right here, it can also help you perform really well. So Johnny, why do we not want to use a Performance Max campaign when we are starting out? And here is why. Because this is used as a crutch. And what it does is it puts a ceiling right over your account, okay? So when you're looking in this, so remember, each of our ad assets right here, each of our ads, it's gonna have, again, it's gonna have images, it's gonna have videos, it's gonna have text, it's gonna have shopping, whatever. And so if we go in here and we click on this campaign, we go to these asset groups because they're not gonna be ad groups anymore. And now that we are at these asset groups, which are basically like ad groups, you're thinking, okay, cool. So where are the results? How well is everything doing? This is it. There's nothing here. You can click on table and they kind of hide that, so you can like look at the main set that we've looked at before. So you can look at this table and you can bring up the custom columns, which is like, okay, whew, good, we can see all that. But remember, these placements also cover through your search, and there is no keywords. What a Performance Max campaign uses is it uses what's called search themes. So as you can see here, there are some search themes, and all that does is that influences when someone Googles when you show up or not. Search themes are basically a broad match keyword. So it's literally just a theme. So, and in return of that, guess what? You also can't see your search terms. So you can't make any negative, and you can't make any negative keywords because there's no keywords. So you can't say what you don't want to show up for. It does not show you search terms, so you can't even see what people are looking up to find you when clicking on your ads. So there's no way to increase or decrease effectively and profitably and scalable what kind of search themes you have in there, because you have no idea. So it's spending your money on clicks and you have no idea where it's going. There's also not really any way to see what it's spending on. Okay, like is YouTube doing the best? Is display doing the best? Is search? Is shopping feed? There's no way to see that. So if you go to assets, it's just going to show you like some headlines. If you want to go to, let's go to performance, go to images here. Doesn't even show you any. Vertical doesn't even show you any. Let's go to YouTube video. Doesn't even show me any. I have them. You see in these asset groups, you see there are images, there are videos, I promise you. And it's not showing me any of that. And it shows me some headlines and whatnot that were being clicked on, but it doesn't even show me any of the full actual data. So there's that. So one, I don't even know what videos are getting viewed, how long my videos are getting viewed for. I don't see what images are being clicked on. Let's try one more time. There's nothing here. There's nothing here. As you can see, this campaign has spent alone just in this time period, it has spent $17,000. None of that's here. This doesn't show me where my video views are. I don't know how long someone's watched the video. I don't see my video click-through rate. I don't even see how many times my ads were shown on YouTube. I don't know how to make my videos better for YouTube. I don't know how to optimize those. I don't know what searches people are looking up to find my ads. I don't know what searches are performing best. I don't know what's getting searched the most. I don't know how to add or remove keywords. There's no negative keywords. I have no control over that. It doesn't show me. That's just a piece of the pie when it comes to Performance Max campaign. So as you can see, this leverages Google's AI and really helps you get a decent ROAS sometimes. You can also fail, of course, with Performance Max campaign. This is no guarantee to have a successful ad campaign, but what this does is this leverages Google's AI to almost take the direction and build a campaign for you. So if you're still asking, Johnny, what's wrong with that? Well, then I'm going to ask you, how do you scale this campaign? It's at a 421% ROAS. What do you do? Obviously, you're new to Google Ads, but everything you've learned in this video, I've helped you get to a good foundation. I want you to put in the comments down below what you think I should do with this campaign. Do we change the videos? I have no idea which ones are even being seen. What headlines are doing the best? I can see down there. Okay. What about our images? Which ones are being clicked? What are people looking up? I have no idea. So anything you do to make any adjustments to this ad campaign is just going to be almost guessing. So the reason why that I got you guys set up on the main foundational campaigns that bring up what a Performance Max campaign is, because again, just to reiterate, a Performance Max campaign, I guess I could say there's a Performance Max campaign and there's a shopping Performance Max campaign. So a Performance Max campaign is going to be Google search, display, YouTube, Gmail, Discover, and Maps, and then a shopping PMax is just all that with also having the shopping feed there, because not everyone who uses a Performance Max campaign is actually an e-commerce product. So if you are e-commerce product based, then having that shopping feed in there does help. But again, not everyone is e-commerce. But your growth here is stunted. You don't know how to scale effectively. There's no clear data. So I wanted to teach you guys right and how to do Google Ads the right way and show you how to use and utilize and optimize and set up and scale properly, and some industry secrets of the main foundational Google Ads campaigns, which is going to be that search, that shopping, and that video. So of course you could also make a display campaign, but as I told you, in about a month or less, demand gen is going to be grouping up with video and display. So it's all going to be one now. So it kind of follows the exact same suit, where same thing in a Performance Max as you saw in the video campaign, which you also would see in a display campaign. It's relatively the same setup. And you also get to choose those audience segments, right? Where we got to choose, okay, what people are visiting these apps and seeing, like, do we want to target people who have looked this up or have an interest in this or in this category, or have been on this app before or have been on this website? You do that same targeting here, but when you do it inside of these video campaigns or display campaigns, you can actually look at that audience segment and see its performance. So if your audience segment is doing bad, then you need to switch your targeting. In a Performance Max campaign, there's no way to see that. It's all completely hidden. So again, I know I've said it a couple times, but I wanted to teach you guys how to do Google Ads the right way. This video is not for lazy people. If you are lazy, then that's okay. I will run your Google Ads for you because that's what I do for a living. But I wanted to set you guys up on something that's going to not be easy. It's going to take more time. But if you're serious about scaling your brand and you're here to not mess around, then I've taught you exactly what you need to do. I haven't taught you every optimization because we could go into, changing your bidding strategy or your cost per click and all that stuff. But those are very, very real data-driven methods and examples. And it's all going to be case by case, and those are a little bit more advanced. So for this, I hope I was able to teach you guys how to set everything up on these main Google foundational campaigns. Again, I would have included display, but it's relatively the same, and it's going to be merged with the demand gen in a month, which is when I'm sure that more people will be seeing this video in more than a month from now. So didn't want to add that. And if you have made it to this point, congratulations. And I am very happy that you are so serious about actually learning this and taking your brand to the next level. And if you've gotten this far and you are like, Johnny, holy crap, there is no way I'm implementing and doing all this, but I want to crush it on Google, and I know my brand can do good on Google, and I want you to do it for me. Well, I would be honored. I am an expert in this suit. I do this for a living, believe it or not. So again, go down to the first link in my description, fill out my contact form on my website, and if I am not in an existing client meeting, if I'm not making this YouTube video or another YouTube video, or if I'm not sleeping, I will personally pick up my phone and call you in 5 minutes, and we will set up a time to call and have a more formal chat about your Google Ads account. And if you got this far and you're thinking, Johnny, I think I got everything, we watched this video because we're having some troubles, then I would love to audit your Google Ad account for you for free and teach you everything. Look in your account, see what we could uncover, find hidden potential, etc., and how I would implement that and give you a strategy and roadmap. Then I also have a description for you down below, and I have lots of other little goodies, free PDFs, free courses down below on certain niche topics. And if you have any small questions, please comment those down below. I also have my email down there. You can ask me anything. And if you've made it this far, please leave a comment. I don't care what it is, thumbs up, good video, bad video, however you thought of it, whatever. But if you made it this far, please leave a comment. I would love to see how many of you guys made it this far. And if you can't tell, my voice is dying. I had to lower my light here because we're slowly losing sunlight. So I have put a lot of time and energy in this video. So if you found this helpful, or if you're serious about someone running your Google Ads for you, I would love to be that person. And I hope that you subscribe, and I hope that you got value from this video. And I hope that you now look at me as more of an expert. So thank you so much for your time, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.